What's up, folks? How's it going? Everything good? How's your life? I hope it's good. I'm hanging out with someone who I think is super badass. You might have seen her in a Marvel comic because she's actually fucking Superwoman. Although she won't admit to it. She's someone that I think other people should aspire to look up to, someone that other people should at least listen to. Take the time to listen to. Definitely got something to say. And if you're at work right now in a car or whatever, this might just motivate you, might just make you cry, might just give you a couple tidbits. You might learn something here. So welcome back to Self-Hired, and welcome to ThinkSpace. Rocky, how you doing? Introduce yourself a little bit.
Thank you for having me. I'm Rochelle Okoye. I'm a professional Hollywood stuntwoman and actress. I'm also the co-owner of TriStar Vancouver Martial Arts, and I'm also an author and motivational speaker.
See, I couldn't fit that all in one. I was gonna miss something, and I was gonna stutter and say, I don't want to put you in a box either.
Right?
You're utmost and foremost human and an awesome person.
Thank you.
Past all of those 10 things you just listed off. That's hilarious. And I don't want to put a label on you, but what would you say your main thing is? What's your life about?
That's actually
professionally.
All of it.
All of it. Okay.
All of it. Yeah.
Sure.
No. One thing led to the next for me, and everything that I do is just important as the next, and they all encompass my life. They all keep me equally as busy. Yeah.
Well, you're working on some pretty badass stuff right now.
I am.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff on your plate right now.
There is.
And we're lucky we got you for a couple hours.
Aww.
We appreciate it. So, what are you working on right now? What can you tell us?
Yes. Okay. So I'm currently one of the keynote speakers in a TEDx talk that's coming up in Coquitlam, November 17th. So
Mark your calendars.
Yes, mark your calendar. So I'm just finishing my speech up for that event, and I'm taking off in September to do reshoots for X-Men Dark Phoenix. So I'll be gone for a month, and then I'm also finishing up my book, so I'm just in the editing process right now.
Oh.
Yeah, so hopefully that will be published before Christmas. Mm-hmm. So yes, there's lots going on.
And that's fine
because
writing is not a lengthy process at all, right?
Right.
Super quick.
Goodness.
You can just bang that out like no.
Seriously.
Are you going to be one of those authors that so it's really, I mean, I know 50 wrote a book and it was like, buy 50 Cent, and it was like, he didn't write a single fucking word. Are you going to be one of those authors, or are you just going to sit down and have someone record you, or like?
No, I've actually written the entire book myself, and I started last November, so I'm actually finished it now. I'm just editing it before I send it off to the editor.
So just like, what's that like? Every morning you just bang on a couple hours, set 15 minutes aside? How does that work?
Right?
I've never written a book.
Yeah, no, it's actually been pretty crazy because this entire time I've been working on movies and TV shows. So that takes up quite a lot of my time when I'm not managing the gym too. So whenever I'm not on set, I'm basically writing my book. Yeah.
Right.
No days off.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
And there's that when you're studying or when you're writing or when you have something that's continuous over a long period of time, it's like even when you're hanging out, you can never really hang out. Like even when you go home, okay, I'm just gonna eat dinner now.
Exactly.
It's like, I shouldn't just eat dinner. I should be writing at the same time.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Efficiency. Which
yes.
Does that affect the quality of the work?
I'm a pretty efficient person, and I'm super organized. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends call me Captain E.
Gotcha. Nice.
So I've never been a procrastinator.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've managed to schedule my time accordingly and handle it when I need to handle it. So I feel like I've been doing it, and I've put in productive time, and it's getting done. And I'm actually ahead of my goal right now, which is nice. So yeah, it's just time crunch now.
How long is this book?
How long is the book?
How long would it take me to read this book as an average person?
That depends on how fast you read, but right now it is at 70 pages, single-spaced on a laptop. So once that gets translated into a hard copy book, it's probably going to be around maybe 90 pages.
So like digestible.
Yeah, super digestible. Yeah.
Digestible for sure.
The content's super straightforward too, and it's a complex topic that I had to simplify. That was the challenge for me.
So when I think about the title, Every Damn Brick, that doesn't seem like a complex. I don't know. I've been in construction. Seems pretty easy to me. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's about it's a self-help book,
Okay.
and it's about how to create a life from adversity into a life of diversity, power, and abundance. So yeah,
Another mouthful.
I know it is a mouthful.
Gotcha.
But basically, with every damn brick comes from the quote, "People will throw bricks at you. People will throw bricks at you.
Mm-hmm.
Do not throw them back. Collect them all and build your empire." So basically, we're going to go through adversity in life. Life is going to throw stones at you. People will throw stones at you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be bitter about it. Trust that that's going to serve you to your highest. All your adversities are happening for a reason.
Right.
So use them to create the life of your dreams.
Take the negative, flip it into
Turn
a
it into
positive.
positive, yeah.
Take all that shit, stand on it, and go for it.
Exactly.
Make yourself hired.
Yeah.
That's amazing. When are you looking to release this?
Yeah, so hopefully it should be published before Christmas this year, so
Nice.
December 2018. But again, that all depends on me and if I can get it into the editor before I leave for X-Men. So I have 2 weeks.
Is this your first experience writing like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I co-authored a book last year
Okay.
with 14 other amazing women, and that was just about choosing success through overcoming your adversity. So I just contributed one chapter to that, and I chose to just touch on one of my adversities in life.
A chapter's still a chapter.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
It ended up being a bestseller, so that was cool.
Hello.
On Amazon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was good.
Damn,
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
then
know.
now it's time to dedicate my entire story to the book.
Right, so you're sitting at home, you're like, I'm not really doing anything with my life right now. I probably need a little bit of motivation, inspiration to get going on something. Why don't I write a fucking book?
Right? Like I don't have enough going on.
Because that makes total plausible sense. Like, are you just like, I can't imagine you sitting and just on your laptop just going. Like, I imagine you writing this book like through, voice notes and here and there and on napkins.
Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah.
It's on my notes, on my phone, like anywhere I am, I'm on set, on a plane, any ideas I have, I just jot them down and then
Yeah, no, for sure.
start writing. But yeah.
No, I mean, that's how you got to do it.
Right.
Especially when you're...
It's funny, I've always wanted to write a book, and it's something that I was told to do a long time ago, just from people hearing my story. I never really knew how to approach that, though, and at the time, I didn't really have the courage to write the book either and to stand in my power and share my story with the world. So I feel like more events had to happen, more adversities had to happen that gave me the courage, that gave me the power to write and to share my story to help inspire people and just own it. So.
Yeah, own it, be you.
Own it,
be
yeah.
You. What are you, by the way? Like, what is your ethnic background?
Yeah.
You gotta be
Right.
a mix of something
I
and
am,
something.
yes.
Okay.
So my dad is black and he was born in Nigeria.
Okay.
And my mom is white. She was born in Canada, but her family resides in Scotland. Comes from Scotland. So Scottish and Nigerian. Right? I was set up to be a warrior from birth.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Those Highlands people are savage people by nature.
Right?
So, no,
And then
fair enough.
Nigerians.
Nigerians are not to be messed with either. That's crazy. That's a weird path to meet. Both met in Canada, I'm assuming.
Both met in Canada, yeah, in Winnipeg.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're originally from Winnipeg?
Yes, I was born there.
How did you find Vancouver, Winnipeg, and did you just migrate, or was it super
No.
simple? Or
No, so I was born in Winnipeg. I lived there until I was 7. And then my dad wanted to move to England to finish his PhD in criminology at
Oh my
Oxford
goodness.
and Cambridge. So we actually originally moved there so he could finish his degree,
Shit, you're a genius too.
right? But I ended up making the Great Britain gymnastics team.
Right.
So we ended up staying there for 7 years because I ended up being the 3-time national champion. I ended up being the 2000 Olympic hopeful. And so the journey was for me to be in the Olympics. So we ended up staying there so I could pursue my gymnastics career.
And
then in 2000, when the rules changed, I was no longer eligible to compete in that year.
sorry, excuse me. So how young were you? How old were you there at that?
I
at
was
that point?
14.
So 14, trying to compete at the
2000 Olympics.
2000 Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to be 16.
You had to be 16. So before 2000, you could be any age. A competitor could be any age to compete in the
What?
Olympics. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then in 2000, they changed those rules, and a competitor had to be 16 years old to compete. And I was 1 year shy. So at that point, they were like, well, you no longer qualify. You're not eligible. You can't even try out for Olympic trials. You have to wait until 2004.
Could you be part of the Olympic team?
Nope.
you can't even do practices, so you're totally remote.
I was still on the national team, yes,
Right, okay.
but I was no longer eligible to even compete in the Olympic
Anything
trials and go
Olympics.
for Olympics anymore.
Right.
Yeah, so everything that I had worked so hard for kind of just went out the window.
Okay.
In that moment. But honestly, I didn't care. I didn't like gymnastics.
What?
Yeah, I hated gymnastics. Yeah, I hated
Olympic
it.
level. Didn't like gymnastics.
I know,
sure.
right?
Okay, right. Whatever.
know.
That's a gift, but okay.
It was more my parents' goals
pushing
and
you a little
dream.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just never really cared for it. It was just something that I happened to be really good at. And I thought, like, if I was that good at something, imagine, and I didn't like it. Imagine
Right. If I liked it.
If I liked
If I was
it.
passionate
Imagine,
about it.
yeah, imagine how far I would have gone in that. So, I just hung in doing it because I was kind of forced to. I didn't really have
fair
a
enough.
choice in the matter.
I get it, but like still, like that. People undermine like Olympic level is a completely different thing. Like
Yeah.
as a basketball player, if you play for your Olympic team, like there's serious consequences whether you make that free throw or miss that free throw,
Yeah.
right? Like if you actually get a gold or you get a bronze or you don't place at all and you have expectations on you, right? So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's a different stratosphere
Absolutely.
of competition,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I want to ask you a dumb question here. What is Great Britain? Like, and when it comes like Olympically, so what qualifies to be part of Great Britain
Okay, good question.
versus
And
England versus the UK versus
Right.
Britain? Like,
right now I have to jog my memory. I was like,
Okay,
oh, this is so
okay.
long ago. And there was things happening too. So we had England in there. We had girls from Wales in there.
Okay.
We had girls from Ireland, but not Northern Ireland.
'Cause they're independent.
Yes.
Got you.
So that encompassed Great Britain.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So sorry, my question wasn't as dumb as I thought it was
Yeah,
gonna
I
be.
know. And there was no Scottish people on our team either. So
Because there was no one from that area, or because it.
I just don't think they were. Now that I'm trying to remember, Scotland was in. I don't even think they were in the nationals, or maybe they were and just nobody qualified.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember. That's another thing about my gymnastics career. I kind of blocked it out.
It was like another life.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I kept it a secret too for a long time.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
because you didn't want people to judge you.
No, I just
On your
that's how
excellence?
much I hated it. I didn't
Wow.
want anything to do with it anymore. And when I quit something, I quit. I don't look back.
Right.
And I only usually do something to be the best at it. So like when I quit, it was just like that's in the
done.
past, that's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't share that with my new friends in Canada when we moved back.
Wow.
Everyone would ask because I came back and I was so shredded.
Right,
I had
and
an
when it came
eight-pack
time
and,
to like jump a fence, you
Right.
were jumping 3 fences.
Totally. So I remember them coming over because my parents had a pool in the summer and I was in a bikini, and that's when they were like,
Like-
"What the? Why are you so shredded
Yo,
though?"
bro, she's gotta be.
Right?
She's gotta be a fucking Olympian. I
they
bet you she's an Olympian.
Right? Or they would come into my bedroom and see all the medals and trophies and then question like, "What is all of this?"
Right,
and,
right.
And then I got accused like, "Why are you living a secret life?" Like, I don't know. I'm
So you had to open up, and all of a sudden you were like famous around school a little bit, or
I was always famous in school in England because I was England's little star child. And so I'd always have interviews and cameras follow me around, and that was just my life
So
there.
you're used to this, yeah.
Right? When I moved here, I just pretended none of that happened, and I just wanted to be a normal teenager.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
have a childhood growing up. We were training 30 to 40 hours a week. It was a full-time
That's
job.
a lot.
Right? And then I would miss a week of school every month to go train at the National Training Center
Mm-hmm.
in Lilleshall, and that was 40 hours a week. So it was 9 hours a day. So I just didn't have a childhood growing up. So I just wanted to experience that.
So like to put that in perspective for people, so like that 8 hours you went and you sat at your desk for, so imagine doing physical exertion and flexibility and mobility and conditioning for 8 to 9 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's insane. And that's not even including like time you take out to recover and stuff like that, right? That's like practice time. Am I wrong,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm here, I'm focused, I'm working on techniques,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
working on my body, right?
There wasn't even recovery time in gymnastics at that level. You can't, like literally. You are forced to train on your injuries.
Wow.
And if you're not training on your injury, you're training around it. There's no time to take off. Like
Wow.
you can't physically. Gymnastics is such a freaky sport. Things that gymnasts do are not normal. So the amount of training that has to go into it to train your body to be able to do that is insane in itself. But then the minute you go and try to take some time off. So I remember going to Nigeria when I was younger, and I ended up taking a month off, which my coaches were so upset
Pissed,
about.
right? Yeah, it's going to ruin your career.
When I came back, though, I lost so many moves. It took me
really?
about a week of training every day to regain some stuff.
Crazy.
So you lose things that fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, like in other sports, people say, oh, like you never forget how to kick a soccer ball. You never forget how to shoot a basketball.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
No, you lose things.
Just because of the awkward positions you're putting yourself in.
The muscles that are twitching and firing. It's like all these muscles you don't usually use in life.
At all, yeah, for sure.
So it's a weird thing.
But that's nice. It makes you jacked, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So you go to the UK, pursue something in gymnastics, basically get, you say, a blessing in disguise because of that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, that was the end of it for you, basically. So was it exactly that point where you're like, hey, listen, mom, hey, dad, I'm done?
I wish it was that easy.
But it was definitely not.
Yeah, no. I come from an abusive household, so my dad, he was very abusive growing up. So it wasn't just as simple as me making that choice. I was controlled growing up. I didn't have choices.
You were a pawn in someone else's vision.
When the rule change happened, I saw that as my escape. I saw it as, yes, maybe I can finally quit. Because my mom at that point, she was homesick because she was born in Canada. Mm-hmm. Now she's gone for 7 years in England, and she just missed it. And she was like, fine, if she can't make the 2000 Olympics, let's go back to Canada, and she can compete on the Canadian team, and then she can do the 2004 Olympics for Canada. And I was like, no, that's not what I want, right? And that's what they had in their head. But I honestly had a whole nother thing. So I had a whole nother plan. We moved back here, and I just chose to stand in my power, and I didn't care. I didn't care if I was going to get beat for it. I did not care. I told my dad, I'm done. I'm quitting. You can physically pick me up and drag me into the gym. I will claw on the walls. I literally said that. I will claw on the walls. And then when I get into the gymnastics center, I will sit on the floor. You physically can't force me to train. That's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And he realized in that moment, there's nothing he can do. He's lost this battle. So they accepted it somewhat, but guilt tripped me for years after that. My mom would come in my room constantly, look at my medals and trophies, and then say, do you regret it yet?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So what was your plan?
What was my plan?
You said you had a plan. You said it all
that
figured
was
out.
my plan, to quit.
But then from there,
you're
14 at this point? You're what,
yeah,
15, 16?
15.
Okay, so you can't just quit a passion like that and be like, okay, I'm going to go be a student.
Right?
Like,
no, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I wanted to be a student and live that normal life, but I don't think I was put on this planet to live a normal life.
So how far did that get you? Not that far, probably.
Right. So I ended up quitting gymnastics, and then they put me in dance, which I really wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I was dancing the rest of high school. I skipped a grade too. So when I got back here, I skipped grade 8 and went straight to grade 9. So I did half of grade 7, none of grade 8, and then half of grade 9, and then went into grade 10. And
that's that genius shit coming back. I just got intimidated. Oh, God damn it.
Hilarious.
You might have to cut it. Okay, so you skipped like actually 2 grades, but you're going to say 1, so right, sure.
Totally. I started dancing, but before I settled on dancing. What I actually really wanted to do was track and field. I wanted to be a sprinter. I was so fast.
For sure, you got the perfect build. Absolutely,
right? Yeah, and I was Olympic level athlete, and I was beating everybody in gymnastics. I was the fastest on the team. Okay. So track, which just came naturally. Like if you look at my body, I look.
You have a track. Yeah, you're a track star. You don't know it, but yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah.
A lot of people growing up asked me, "Are you a sprinter? Are you a sprinter?" Like I just have that sprinter body, and I loved sprinting. It's weird. Who likes running fast? I don't know. I really liked it.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
At the time, I loved it, but they didn't let me do it.
What?
I don't understand it. There was not really a reasoning behind it. It was just, no, that's not what you're gonna do. So
was it because they had previously had a career in gymnastics, they had a background in gymnastics, they had a passion for gymnastics, and they wanted to reflect that upon you? Or?
No. So why I got put into gymnastics originally, my dad is all about discipline. Okay. And so he thought gymnastics was one of the hardest sports that produces the most discipline.
For sure.
Right. So it was just that.
Right.
Let's put you in there. It's a disciplined sport. And not only that, when I was 2 years old, I was a monkey. Like, I'm climbing on things and putting myself in dangerous situations.
Right,
my mom thought it would be safer for me to just be in a gym environment, and then I can climb totally and be crazy. And then I ended up really excelling at it fast. I think when I was 7 was my first competition. I ended up winning, and then the pressure was on from there.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, you won first place. Now you get first place every time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then my national career started when I was 9 years old.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, but hey, that's the world of sport. That's how the world of sports really is.
Exactly.
But I don't understand why they wouldn't let you go to the track route, because if they want success and they want discipline, like, don't tell me track athletes are not disciplined. They have to be extremely disciplined.
Yeah.
Like, any athlete on the highest level has to be a monster, essentially. Like, you're a machine.
Yep. I thought I could get a scholarship, go to the States, and then compete in the Olympics and still stay in athleticism, but just go through that way instead. But nope, they didn't.
So did you, how far did you compete in track and field?
I didn't compete in track and field. They wouldn't let me.
Nothing.
I didn't even get to join.
Zero.
Nope. Yeah, zero.
What a wasted talent. That's so shitty. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Okay. Everything for a reason.
Instead, like, what was your athletic outlet then?
So they put me in dance. So I was.
So it was straight dance, nothing else, no sports.
No sports.
So excuse me, that was super ignorant of me. Like, how competitive is dance?
I mean, I came from the world of gymnastics at
That's
an
what I'm
Olympic
saying.
level.
Like, what's your gnawing at the bit super?
It was more fun than anything.
Right.
We competed. We ended up winning Western Canadian. I don't even remember what the title was. Who cares? But it was more fun. It was a creative outlet for me, and I loved dancing. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was something I wanted to do. So it felt good to actually do something that I wanted to do myself as well. But yeah, I did hip hop, acro, jazz, and ballet. It fulfilled me in the moment.
And that led you straight into being a professional boxer and stunt woman.
Kind of.
I'm sure I skipped a couple years there.
Right. I went to university first.
Did you play a sports university?
No.
You're fucking kidding me.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God.
So.
See, I hate people like you.
Why?
Like, naturally gifted, naturally talented, and just like, no, I like biomedicine. I like engineering. It's like, are you serious?
Right? I got a degree in psychology.
Okay.
Because I felt like I had to study my upbringing and my parents.
Now you're making me even more uncomfortable. Like, I'm thinking about my body language.
People, the human psyche. Right?
Oh man, I'm starting sweating. You'll see it dripping on my face in a second for sure. You do? No, you do. I can see it. I can see it for sure. It's all good though.
And I'm an empath and intuitive. So between having a psychology degree, being an empath and intuitive, it's really scary.
The emotional intelligence that comes along with all that. Fuck
I
me.
can see through you.
I'm super scared. I'm gonna start looking everywhere. Start fiddling with shit. Oh my God, I gotta keep my hands straight.
Yeah.
And most people are just judgmental right off the bat. If you had a psychology degree to that, oh my God.
Right?
But they're usually the most insightful people.
Yeah. No, it really helped me.
Or crazy.
Yeah. Right. Maybe there's nothing wrong with crazy as long as it's good crazy.
Yeah. No, for sure. So you, I'm gonna say you wasted those years athletically. Come on. Okay. Did you still dance all the way through university?
No, I stopped sports. Yeah, I stopped. So I actually enjoyed that. It felt like a nice break for me.
Okay, yeah. No, if I was Olympic level since 9, I could understand how that could be a nice break for you, for sure.
I mean, I started when I was 2, so it was just like I was going hard from when I can remember.
You walked out of the womb onto a gym mat and you're like, what's up now? They cut the umbilical cord and you went into a somersault.
That's what it felt like. So when I went to university and I finished high school, it just felt like, wow, I can be a teenager. And I was exposed to all these things I actually wasn't exposed to before. Boys, drugs,
trouble,
alcohol, sex. Like all these things, they were all hidden from me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
It's like a teenhood without a teenhood.
Right?
But maybe it kept you safe for a while. But like when you got to university then where you're like, oh shit, this stuff is cool. Boys are fun. Like,
yeah, I had probably 2 years there. I was a little bit out of control. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I obviously needed to go through that. My soul had been so contained and controlled. It's like, well, now you can live, be free.
Yeah, no,
fly,
be free. Yeah, like
experience
spread
life.
Your wings or whatever.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, I was eating junk food. I remember eating McDonald's because I was always on such a strict diet too.
Did you ever get big?
No.
Of course you're not. Yeah,
so I'm ectomorph.
These people,
blessed, right?
Ectomorph, not a endomorph, mesomorph. Shit, I'm making these terms up, right? Ectomorph.
Yeah. O blood type and what else? I just have a very high metabolism. I actually had my metabolism measured with my physio like 3 weeks ago, and I had the metabolism of a 12-year-old boy.
Crazy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Just burn,
That's a scary place
burn.
to be. Holy shit.
Right?
That's a lot of food money.
Yeah. And so I actually remember eating McDonald's, and I was going through junk food like crazy and eating so much food though. And I remember my friends being like, but where does this all go? And you're tiny. Like, I don't know.
It just goes into your energy. You're just like every day, you're a bubbly person, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, you probably burn a shit ton of calories just sitting here talking, right?
Literally.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. So that led you straight into professional acting, and that led you straight because that was such a perfect, clear-cut career for you. You knew what you want, and you just landed here like nothing, right?
No.
That's how it goes, right?
No.
Oh, shit.
I know.
You had to build it brick by brick, right?
Totally.
Exactly.
Brick by brick, of course. So I graduated university a year early.
What did you go to university? Sorry.
Degree, where?
Where?
University of Northern British Columbia.
Oh, UNBC, dope. Awesome.
Okay, yeah, UNBC, but I originally was enrolled in SFU, so I've never actually told this story before.
Okay, dun.
Publicly.
Okay.
I was enrolled in SFU and set to go, and my father, being the control freak that he is, decided to go behind my back and enroll me in UNBC.
You're shitting
and
me.
I didn't even know where it was. I never heard of Prince George before.
Yeah, that's a never land. That's
Right?
like way up there, right?
Yeah, and so this was the Friday, and I start school on Tuesday. And he says to me on Friday, pack your bags, you're leaving town. And I said, what?
With his Nigerian accent.
Yeah, I was about to do it
I
there. And I was like, maybe I should just save that for my TEDx talk.
You get it. You're good. That's super funny. But I can see it. I can envision it.
Right? He said, pack your bags, you're going. And I said, what? He's like, yeah, you're going to Prince George. And I'm like, where the hell is Prince George?
Yeah.
Didn't say hell because you're not allowed to use that word. But yeah, where's Prince George? And he said, look it up in the map. So I looked it up. And I'm like, what? This is in the middle of nowhere. Like, where is this place?
Yeah.
And he's like, call your friends and say bye. You're leaving.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm taking you there tomorrow. I was like, what?
So did you ever find out the reasoning?
Yes. So his reasoning was every university in Canada has your degree psychology as a Bachelor of Art.
Yep.
And UNBC is the only university that has it as a Bachelor of Science.
Gotcha. And he didn't want to know arts. He didn't want no arts.
He doesn't want no arts. You got to have the science. So then when you go to grad school, it looks better.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And you never made it to grad school.
So I got into grad school. I didn't go because my film career took off.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. I gotcha for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so you spent 4 years in Prince George?
Yeah, 4 years in Prince George. Yeah, I know,
It's
right?
a nice place. Listen, I'm shitting on it. I feel like my tone is shitting on it. I've never been there. I have no idea.
The university is absolutely beautiful.
I've heard that for
Yeah.
sure. And it's relatively small community, right?
Yeah.
Less than 5,000?
I don't remember the university population. I don't remember the university population, but
Right.
it was a good size. Like,
Was it really? Okay.
It wasn't like SFU or UBC. It was smaller, but it was a perfect size campus. Like, you got your attention, and it was a beautiful feel to it. But you also had like classrooms that weren't overly packed, so you could make connections and
With the
relationships
teachers
with
and
your
the instructors
teachers.
and
Yeah,
the TAs,
exactly.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
No
it was
doubt.
beautiful. The town in itself. No offense to anyone that is from Prince George, but it's not for me. No,
It's not for me, but
it's not for me.
Shit.
All right, it smells and
I gotcha. It's probably super cold.
a pulp mill
There's a
and-
pulp mill. Ooh, that pulp mill smell is brutal.
it's so brutal.
Right.
And just culturally, it was shocking coming from the Lower Mainland
Sure.
and city life, and yeah.
You're in Burnaby, Vancouver.
I'm in Port Moody.
Port Moody. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh, so you've been in Port. Oh, so you're.
when?
Yeah, when you were there.
No, when I was in Prince George.
No. When you moved to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Where did you move in Vancouver?
Oh, originally, so my family and I, we moved to Coquitlam first, then we moved to Port Coquitlam.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're in that zone kind of the whole time. Type
Yeah.
Thing, yeah. Which is
Yeah.
like being a dumb islander that I totally am. I was like, I originally moved to Coquitlam when I first moved here a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like Coquitlam's, it's right in Vancouver. Like it's right there. And then tell that to like, I don't know, 70 minutes, hour and a half on the fucking highway in
I
that
know.
brutal traffic.
But I love it.
It's crazy. And I was like, oh, it's right there. It's gonna be so perfect. My work was downtown at the time. Yeah, no, hell no. It is so far. I used to make fun of people because they used to like live in New West or Coquitlam, and they'd be like, oh, Kendrick's coming to Rogers. Are you going? Like, oh no, it's in Vancouver.
You're hilarious.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding
Right?
me? Like, and so like I was living at home on Hornby, which is like Hornby's like leave Vancouver, Horseshoe Bay, go to Nanaimo, sorry, like 2-hour ferry, then hour and a half drive, and then 2 more ferries after that. So like it's like 10-hour journey for me, and I was like, oh my god, I was gonna make the trip. I was like, are you kidding? Like Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z is coming. I was like, hell yes. Like, oh no, like it's 30 minutes, it's 40 minutes, man. Like that's like so far. I don't want to. And then I'm stuck out there. There's no transit. I'm like,
right.
Whatever, dude. And and then I was like, man, everyone from Vancouver is super stuck up.
I feel like that's just something you have to expect living here is
I guess
commuting.
So, yeah.
Right?
I guess so.
It's just part of it.
I thought you were going to say it's just the stuck up people that you got to expect, but.
No, I hear people are stuck up, and I also hear people aren't. So I don't know.
I'm a firm believer in like, who you surround yourself by, right? Like, I mean, there's shitty people everywhere, and if you're a shitty person, you might just attract those shitty people and have a negative, sense of that city. But
that being said, that I do feel like the males in this city, and I've actually heard the males talk about the females too. The males. For the most part.
The males. Them fucking males, yep.
Okay, maybe I should just shut up.
No, please do.
I just think because Vancouver is known for, well, we have our nature and our beauty and all that, but we also have that gang mentality too. And so it's a big world, the gang world. And so with that comes a lot of douchier guys that just want to be perceived as a gangbanger, and I'm cool, and just living with their ego, and it's just,
like mob mentality for sure. Yeah, I mean,
And then you get those girls that are attached to that too, and it's like, I want the guy with the money, and I don't care if he treats me wrong as long as he's got the money, and like.
So shitty girls feed into shitty guys, and shitty guys feed into shitty girls, and it's just a vicious cycle. But I mean, like I think people in Vancouver, at least, I mean, that's the way I've felt always. Like just being from the Pacific Northwest, you feel like, oh yeah, it's us over here. Like, it's not an LA, it's not a Toronto, it's not even a Calgary. You know what I mean? It's like, you think of Vancouver, you just think of Vancouver. We're super isolated, so we try to like craft our own style. And I mean, even like I've lived in Europe, I've lived, a couple places in Canada, and these different cultures, it's basically, you're from the city, you're absorbed into the city, versus like if you come to Vancouver, it's like, oh, if you move to Coquitlam, you're going to be looked at a certain way, and you're going to absorb into that culture. If you move to Richmond, you're going to be a very, very different way. Oh, you're from the West End. Oh, you're from North Vancouver. Like people from North Vancouver very specifically say they're from North Vancouver. I have a lot of great friends. They're like, no, I'm not from Vancouver, I'm from North Vancouver. I'm from the North Shore. And it's like,
we like nature and we're full of love.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, we got money and all that, versus like if I meet someone that's from the east side, like from East Van, like you won't hear them say I'm from Vancouver. Like, no, I'm from East Vancouver, like Commercial Drive. You know what I mean? And they rep that, which is cool. I'm all for that. But at the same time, it puts everybody in these really weird groups, and then we start feeling different ways about each other. And like, it's a tough place, especially from anyone that's coming in from the outside, to be like, oh, okay, now it's high school and I have to belong somewhere.
Right. Totally. Welcome to Van City.
Welcome on to Smush.
That being said, it's also very beautiful, and I love it here.
I love it here too. It's definitely my favorite city.
And we do have our hippies, and they are out there, and they're very like-minded people.
They're amazing for sure. Great. But you can definitely fall in those pitfalls or whatever.
Right.
So you moved back from Prince George after that? Like you moved back to Vancouver?
So I graduated university, Bachelor's of Science in Psychology, moved back to Vancouver, and I lived in Coquitlam. I got a job counseling children with developmental disabilities, cognitive problems and behavioral problems, mental illnesses. And that was super rewarding.
Was that like a passion you really wanted to pursue out of school? You're like, I want to work with kids?
Yeah, I really wanted to work.
Sure.
I wanted to work with kids, and the goal was I wanted to be a family and marital therapist.
Hello.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right? So I wanted to go to grad school and put in another 7 years, and I know. So I thought that was where I was going to go, because naturally growing up, I was always that person where everyone would dump their problems on me. And
Yeah, you're the listener. You're the one that understands. Yeah.
Yeah, and that just came naturally to me. And then I also needed to study my father. So I studied psychopathy and...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Describe psychopathy for those that don't know.
So it's basically studying serial killers. It's studying psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissism.
Yeah.
Studying all of that stuff.
So you kind of, through your relationship with your dad, you kind of obviously identified him as someone that might sit in that category, and decided to really break that down?
Yes. I was born and raised by a psychopath, and that's what I was becoming myself. And I knew...
In what sense?
Well, I grew up in a very violent household, and violence was rewarded. And as much as the world would see me being this little star child gymnast flipping across a beam, behind closed doors was a completely different life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I would come home and fear everything. My dad, we would refer to him as the demon.
Crazy.
He would just beat us and yell at us, and it was just a terrifying experience. And love was never rewarded. Violence was. Love was punished. So that's what I learned. Violence was okay. And I was a very violent child. Me and my brothers, we would get in very serious physical fist fights, fist fights.
Yeah.
And then I would fight people in school.
Wow.
I would even get in altercations with my teammates in gymnastics. And I liked it. It was like I just fed off of anger. That's all I knew. And obviously I was a broken child too, full of anger as well.
So it gave you a sense of empowerment.
Totally, yeah. And so that's how I was becoming. In high school, I was having issues just with my attitude and just thinking I can beat up anybody step to me, and
So were you the aggressor?
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh yeah. I was.
Damn.
I was mean.
Crazy.
I know, right? I was. It's kind of weird. I was mean and I was loving. It was like I was born this beautiful, loving soul, but unfortunately, through my upbringing, that wasn't nurtured.
It was just mutilated.
It was mutilated. Yeah. And so instead, I was created to be this violent individual, but still possess this love inside of me. So it was like this internal battle almost, right? And it wasn't until I started nurturing that and it came out full force, and yeah, now I just control that other wolf. But
so you kind of dive into one side of yourself a little bit more and then use the other side when you need to.
Yeah, because honestly, and I don't think I've ever been honest about this publicly, being raised by a psychopath instills a lot of anger and violence in you. That's all you know, right? Also, I don't know if I have a psychopath gene. I've never I'm not a psychopath, obviously, because I
can tell.
Yeah, right. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But that being said, I still. I lost my train of thought.
You don't consider yourself a psychopath, and you don't consider yourself someone that goes to those extremes and really is an aggressor like that. But sorry.
Yeah, I'm not an aggressor like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's what was fed to me. That was what was taught is okay. And so whenever anybody would step to me in school, it was like,
it's on.
Perfect. Bring it. Yeah, because
shit.
That's what my dad taught me. And not only that, he also would tell us, if anybody steps to you, if anybody bullies you, you handle it, you take care of it. You be the aggressor. You shut them down, show them your power. And so I was standing in my power through physical violence. I thought that's how
you do it.
Yeah,
that's what you were taught. So as much as you try to go away from, you definitely didn't try to go away from it in your early years in terms of just embracing that anger, aggression, and just paradigm in general. As you grow and develop, and now you're a little bit older, do you still use that side of you?
So, okay, this was my train of thought.
Okay.
So I was raised by a psycho. That was instilled in my core belief, in my core time of development.
Yeah.
I had to work extremely hard in university to rid that. So I was in anger management with my professor. I was working on a whole bunch of stuff. And because I knew it was my responsibility to end the intergenerational cycle of abuse in my family.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
You
my...
looked at it that way as a university student?
Yeah.
You looked like, this is a cycle, I need to break it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And that was my mentality going into that degree.
That's a lot of maturity at an early age.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
I knew this couldn't carry on. And I also intuitively knew that my father probably wouldn't be in my life for the rest of my life, because there's no way that I could call in everything that I wanted still under his power and control. So now, do I still have that anger inside of me? Yeah, sometimes.
Sure.
I think we all do. Healing is a lifelong journey. And there are situations and people that will still trigger that in me. But I've learned how to control it. I've learned how to rise above, and I've learned how to come from a place of love and recognize that if I'm being triggered, why I'm being triggered, and then how to act accordingly.
Self-reflect and go from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Not to be toyed with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big thing too. Some people find your weaknesses and like to press on them in certain situations.
Exactly.
And, it's life's a game of power, right? So
Yeah.
you don't want to. I mean, you want to be able to, as much as we are who we are instinctively, and nature versus nurture and all that. We don't want to be highly malleable in social situations where we can be attacked, right?
Exactly.
I mean, there's a couple situations where I would say that trait is amazing, like pro boxing, for instance.
Right.
How much of that played a part in your success in that field?
It played a part, but there was another motivating factor behind that. So when I graduated university and came back,
Right. You had a street fight, and that's when you knew.
no. So I actually got disowned by my parents when I
Right
came
out of high school, out of
right
university.
out of university. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
my dad called me over on Father's Day 2006, and he had a 3-hour family meeting, and these meetings usually consist of just abuse and him instilling fear in us and manipulation and you name it. And in this particular meeting, he ended up hitting the wall instead of me, and I just thought, like, this is my cue to leave. And he said, you have 3 strikes in this family and then you're out. And I guess I had my 3 strikes that day, according to him. So he kicked me out of the family, and that was the last time that I saw my parents 12 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then they disowned my brothers the following year. During Christmas, actually, it was Boxing Day, 2007. And then, so now I'm disowned. I don't have a family. I don't have parents, no one to lean on, nothing. And I'm alone in this world. I was very lost, very confused and scared. I didn't really know what to do, but at the same time, I also, it was like a blessing in disguise, as messed up as that sounds.
I'm sure you didn't look at it that way at the time.
At the time, I did. I looked at it as a blessing in disguise,
Wow.
and I also looked at it as a really, really painful event. I felt abandoned, neglected. Of course, I didn't have parents anymore. And not only that, like, I never really had parents to begin with. Like, it was just full of abuse. There was no real bond or connection there.
So you were getting rid of a negative, you were getting rid of a toxin, you almost viewed it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a terrible position to be in.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm out in this world alone, but free. So it's like this double-edged sword.
Which is super empowering, amazing, right? And that's probably what made you into everything that you are today. Just that latch being off. You don't have to do anything anymore for your parents. You can just do it for you. You can do it for who you want to be. You have that image of yourself that you want to attain.
Yeah, that, and I've never shared this either, because I've always seen this as something that's not good, like hindering, but it's actually, I think it's beneficial and hindering. The fact that I don't have family and I don't have a support system has given me that drive to succeed, because it is just me. There's no one for me to fall back on.
100%. Yeah.
So it's like I have to do what I have to do. I have to make it. I have to succeed, because otherwise, like, I'm going to be on the streets.
Yeah, there's nothing
It's not
behind
an
you.
option for
No,
me.
100%.
Yeah.
That's we spoke before the podcast about immigrant theory, and that's one of the exact things. Like, if you're coming from behind, you realize there is no safety net. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And I hear you, man. Like, I came from a foster family, and I left my family early in life, and it was like, even to this day, it's like, if we run out of money, we run out of money.
Yeah.
We lose our house, and we're done. There's no, okay, let me call a friend. Like no one's I might be able to sleep on someone's couch, but I have no family, no mom and dad to call and say, hey, listen, can you loan me $1,000? I'm short on rent.
Exactly.
And that's such a motivating factor in everything that you do. To it's like, okay, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're like, okay, I need to make sure I get that overtime, because if I don't get that overtime, then I'm eating KD again all next week, and I want to actually buy vegetables. Right. Like that's just a little thing where like, yeah, you might be motivated to be healthy, and that's great, but I'm motivated in a whole different way to be healthy, right?
Yeah.
Or to be the best version of myself. You want to be the best version of yourself because, you're trying to discover yourself and all that, and that's amazing. I'm not trying to shit on that at all, but like, I'm trying to become the best version of myself because it's a fucking necessity. And if I don't do this, I might die. I might be on the streets. Like there's dire consequences for every one of my actions, because again, this is the set of cards that life handed me. Exactly. And now everything becomes important. And that's like a really tough decision to be in, because you can have those nights, and I'm sure you've had those nights where it's like, this might be it, or what am I gonna do? And there's no pick up the phone and call mom. There's no nothing. There's no, as much as there's no maybe financial support, there's no physical, there's no emotional support. There's no nothing. Like if you're sick, figure it out. Exactly. Right? Which brings a certain toughness to you. And to me, I mean, my advantage over everybody and anybody, I have not an ounce of talent in my entire body, but I'm willing to outwork you and out-discipline you, because it's not an option for me. Right. It's not like, oh, maybe I'll be successful. It's like, I have to be, or else, I mean, for me personally, it's I have to be, or else my parents are going to die in early age because they don't have any money. Right. So it's like, that's a motivating factor that no one else is going to have that isn't in a similar situation. So as much as that's a curse, it's a huge blessing. Yes. And probably, I mean, I'd like to say that we're made on ourselves, but again, just to play back to your book, that's a ton of shit and bricks people have thrown at you, and it's just like, no, that's going to fortify me. It's going to fortify the fuck out of me to a level that you're not even going to be able to comprehend, because you can't comprehend struggle like I can. Yeah. And that's so powerful. Yeah. And like extremely painful. Yeah. And people don't want to talk about that. But I know. That's a huge part of it as well, right? So painful. I think that has been one of the biggest adversities in my life, was just not having that support system. Because when you're born, you're born into two parents for a reason, to help you navigate this big rock that we're on. It's terrifying, right? Supposedly yeah. In an ideal world. Yeah. Yeah. And then when you don't have that, this innocent blank slate needs to try to figure this all out on their own, and that is just crazy in itself. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's terrifying. So that led you to, okay, let me get in the ring and f somebody up. Right? So I started boxing just as a healthy outlet, just to deal with my trauma and anger. And it was a positive thing for me. But my coach was like, you have some talent. And honestly, that was because I came from the world of gymnastics. I swear to God, a gymnast can go and do anything after her career. Yeah. Like, you're a freak. Gymnasts are athletic freaks. Yeah. So when I started boxing, it was easy. Throw a punch, okay. Like, I had to triple twist on this 6-inch beam. This movement, that is a joke. Yeah, totally. For sure. Yeah, the only thing I had issues with was when I started Muay Thai and kicking, because I was so flexible, and I had gymnast hips, and everything has to be turned out in gymnastics. Your hips have to be turned out and pointed, and Muay Thai is turning in for your kicks, right? So it was the opposite of what I had. But honestly, it took like a week of training, and that just like... Yeah, and so even that, they were like, I think you need to start fighting Muay Thai too. So it was... Are you kidding me? Yeah. Jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu, boxing, and Muay Thai. I actually didn't end up I had to pull out of my Muay Thai fights because my hips from gymnastics were so messed. And my SI joint keeps slipping on me, so I was going paralyzed for like seconds at a time. Yeah, so my coach was like, you're done. Like, we can. SI joint, that's connected to your...
biggest joint in your back.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Right?
That's not a good thing. That's a
Good
scary
old
thing.
Gymnastics. And then boxing, that was fine. And I just loved hitting things. It was
Of course you did.
Right? It was
Of course
that
you did.
outlet. It was healthy. It was good.
Yeah. You weren't
and
hurting anybody?
I wasn't hurting anyone.
Yeah.
I actually get this. So I actually didn't like hurting people. So when I started fighting,
I can understand that completely, but yeah, sure.
right? So when I started fighting, this is when the love in me, like the empath and the love was like, oh, this is coming to the surface and we're realizing like we don't want to hurt people anymore. But this is what you do for a living.
But I'm hurting people more. It's my job to get in there and destroy another human being.
Exactly. So I literally would be in the ring fighting girls, okay, like throwing bombs on them.
Yeah.
I remember this one fight, like I almost knocked this girl out. And I remember thinking like, God, like this was my actual mental thought. Can I swear?
Of course you can.
I was like, fuck, would you just go out already?
Yeah.
I don't want to keep
I
hitting
don't wanna
you,
hit you,
right?
yeah.
I want to keep hitting you. God damn it. So that was like my mental battle throughout the whole fight. I ended up winning the fight and it was great.
Of course
but
you
like,
did. If you're at the point you're like, fuck, just pass out, just go on the ground, just count it, just tap. Come on, I don't want to hit you. Yeah, you're probably going to win that fucking fight.
Right? Yeah, and so then I realized like, I'm probably not a fighter, you know? Some people are fighters. I don't think I'm a fighter. I didn't have that passion and that love for the sport like other fighters do. I was doing it to serve a purpose in my life. I did it to help heal a piece of me that was broken. I did it as a healthy outlet, and I happened to be really good at it again, right? And it served its purpose in my life at the time. But I don't think it was ever in my heart or my soul to be world champion, even though at the time I said that's what I wanted and that's what we were working towards.
Of course, because that's your psyche, right? That's who you are.
Yeah, I don't think that's what was meant for me, clearly, because that's not where I ended up. So.
Yeah.
And then where I ended up was stunts and acting.
Wait, hold up. Let's rewind, because we skipped over a bunch of shit here.
Yeah.
You went from, okay, I just moved out or just got disowned by my parents, and I'm in a terrible place that I think is a positive, and someone introduces you to boxing?
Yeah, so Kijan Johnson, actually.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No way. That's what the connection is.
Yeah, he introduced me. So I actually started training MMA in Prince George, so we met in Prince George.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from there.
Burns Lake?
He's from Burns Lake. He was born in Burns Lake, and then his dad lives in Prince George, so we went to high school there.
Makes
so
sense.
we met in Prince George. And then he started teaching me MMA when I was there. So that was kind of good. It was like a little outlet, but
For sure.
I still wasn't full in because I was really engulfed in my studies at that time.
Got you.
Yeah, so then when I finished my studies, we moved back to the Lower Mainland, and he introduced me to Tony Pep, who was his boxing coach, who became my boxing coach. And then, it was me and Tony the whole way.
So then you went from, okay, I'm going to try this out because someone's introducing it to me a little bit, to becoming an amateur and actually a professional. That's a big jump that,
right.
Again.
Yeah, so I know.
Like you're just like, and then I fought a couple fights, I knocked a couple people out, like I was begging people to just tap because I was so good, and you got there somehow. So
yes, I was an amateur fighter, and then I turned pro. I went through the amateur circuit pretty fast because my style was just more catered towards pro, and it just
Okay, I get it. I'll stop you from basking in how good you are, because I get it already. I've seen the film. What's that circuit like? You said you went through the amateur circuit super quickly. Like, how does that
political.
work? Like, do you have to know certain people, certain coaches, promoters, and how do you move up to become a professional? Like, is there like a gatekeeper that's like,
no,
you're a pro?
It's your choice to go pro at any point, but you should be good at that point because now your record counts. And if you want to be a champion, the fights you take matter, right?
Yeah,
so you have to be careful with that. So we did amateur first just to get the experience and get the feel and figure out what I'm doing. But amateur and professional, they're two completely different styles of boxing.
Okay.
And my style was catered more towards pro. But amateur boxing is more touch and go, like touch, right? It's kind of annoying.
It's like tickling, right? It's just like
it's super annoying, and it's a very political world.
And you're out here knocking girls out, so yeah.
I wasn't knocking
not your style.
Right.
Okay.
No, I just didn't like the amateur world. It was a different style. It was political. I had a little bit of drama, I guess, with Tony. He's been in the boxing world forever, right? And so when you're in a sport forever, things happen. and so
Whatever
sometimes you
that
gain
means.
enemies, sometimes
Sure.
you gain friends. Like,
Gotcha. Yep.
right, and boxing is so political. It's all about politics.
Okay. So because you were with him, people weren't giving you a shot?
Well,
or?
I got ripped off in one of my fights pretty bad, and I won the fight, and it was very obvious. And like,
Oh,
it
shit.
was just like, okay, I mean, this is stupid at this
Right,
point,
right,
right?
right.
And it's just politics. So we were like, okay, well, let's just go pro then. Like, screw it. And so that's what we did.
What's the pro circuit like? Like, where are these? If I want to go see a pro female fight in Vancouver, where do I go? Where's the spot?
I actually had the first pro fight here,
You're
so I went
shitting
down
me.
in history.
Hello, let's go.
yeah, we had the first female pro fight here at the Red Robinson Show Theater. Is that what it's called now, or Hard Rock?
I don't know.
Casino? I think they changed. It's Hard Rock Casino in Coquitlam.
Kev,
They changed it.
Google that.
Yeah, they changed the name. And then Montreal is a big fight scene.
Gotcha. Yeah. TriStar and all that. Yeah. So.
And then internationally. But Montreal is big for boxing.
So you fought out in Montreal a lot? Like
No, I stayed here.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And then like international competition at all?
Nope.
It's just here.
So my last fight was 2000 and when was that? 2008. It was December
cool.
27th, 2008. I remember never fight at Christmas. It's the worst choice.
Because
you have to starve. You got to cut weight. Everyone's eating turkey and
sure, it makes
delicious
sense.
food and enjoying themselves,
Sure.
and you're just like pressure of a fight. And
you don't want to do that. Yeah.
No,
and then
it's
you
not
might
fun.
Yeah, you might knock someone out and then they can't enjoy Christmas or in the
Totally,
hospital. Yeah,
right?
I get you.
Yeah. But so that was my last fight, and what happened there? My ring announcer was a stuntman, and he actually was like, "There's a role coming up, and I think you'd be really good at it."
Right.
And it was the character was a kickboxing chick, and so he's like, "I know you're not in this world yet, but I think you need to go audition for it and meet the right people, and then see where it takes you." So I was like, "All right, I mean, sure." I honestly didn't even know what stunts were at the time, and this was a stunt acting role, so I would have been hired as the actress doing her own stunts.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So again, I didn't know what the hell stunts were. So I just show up, naive, right?
What did they have you do?
What did they? Yeah, I didn't have to do anything because of my athletic background. So they just
really?
watched my demo reel and were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay."
no, you're good.
Right?
She's in.
So now it was just a matter of, can you act, which I couldn't at the time. I
No
didn't
acting
know.
classes, no experiences.
Yeah.
Were you like any extra work? Anything
No,
like that?
nothing.
At
I
all.
just came from the world of sports.
So being in front of a camera, though, you did have a little experience there.
Yeah, that was easy for me, having
Okay.
the crowd around, like whatever. Yeah, cameras, all that stuff. But acting, they were like, "Well, we can teach you acting," and they told me the only reason why you got this role was because of your athleticism and your athletic background.
Sure.
The acting we can teach you, but yeah, there was real actresses that auditioned for this.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
By the way, and they probably hated you that you made it for
Maybe.
sure.
That role didn't end up going through. There was budget issues and it got canned, which happens a lot of the time.
Okay.
But it got me an introduction and noticed. And so everything literally took off from there. And I was really appreciated in the stunt world when I came, and I was grateful for that. And my career just took off, literally
Really,
soared.
just rolls right out of the bat. Anything,
Right away.
Like there are actors out here grinding in a real way, and I'm sure you run into a lot of them. Like, and you just kind of finessed your way in.
Yeah, I mean, into the stunt world, and then acting. I started booking acting roles, and acting, you can learn to act, right? And
Sure.
you can learn to act.
There's
It's
some
an
natural
instrument.
actors, though.
There are definitely
Yeah.
people who have that natural gift and ability, like people in anything. You
Yeah,
have a
for sure.
natural gift,
Yeah.
but it is an instrument, and you can.
Oh, acting is an instrument.
It's an instrument.
Hello.
You're an instrument,
Yeah.
and so an actor is an
I got
instrument.
you. I got you.
You are the instrument, and so you can train yourself to be a good actor. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes practice,
yeah.
and it takes the willingness to be vulnerable and to be courageous, because you are so vulnerable. Acting is a crazy world. You are rejected constantly.
Criticized. That's why people in Hollywood are so weird. That's why LA is a weird
Right?
town.
Actors have issues.
Yeah. You can't even look at someone in a coffee shop in LA. They'll be like, "Oh, the fuck you looking at me like?"
Right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the stunt world, so that was a whole different thing. They meshed together beautifully. Stunting kind of took over acting because at the time I was just more into my
Makes
athleticism,
sense.
right?
No, for
that was
sure.
my passion. So.
Yeah.
I kind of just went with that, and that took over. And then my life. So my career's going.
And then your life. I'm
Okay.
sorry, this is already
I
a
know,
life.
I know.
And then
So
life number 2 comes
we
along.
have another story here.
Sure.
So my stunt career and acting career takes off super fast, right?
Okay.
It's almost overwhelming. I'm traveling internationally. I'm traveling all around the world. I'm traveling all across Canada and just booking. Super grateful, networking, meeting people, and like literally watching my dreams come true. And everything that I had on my vision board, I was ticking off and manifesting, and it was amazing. And then I had a near career-ending injury.
Oh my God.
April 1st, 2013.
Okay.
And I was working on a popular TV show, and I had to do a stunt where I had to jump. It was around 10 to 14 feet, and I was in 3 to 4 inch heels.
Oh.
And I had to land on my feet onto a mat that was floating on the ocean. I put up a bit of a fight before doing this. I'm gonna break my ankle. I can't land on my feet in heels this distance into a squishy surface. It's gonna break. And I was unfortunately left empty-handed, and I was left to make that choice that unfortunately performers get put in sometimes.
Wow.
Are you gonna say yes, or are you gonna say no and hold up this multi-million-dollar production?
Crazy.
And potentially ruin your reputation and career, and who knows what's gonna happen from here, right? Because you say no. So at this time, I was newer in the industry, and I didn't have the courage to stand in my power and say no. So I did what I was told, and I jumped. And I regret that.
Ankle, hip, knee.
My ankle blew. I blew out all 3 ligaments, and I compressed my talus into my tibia in my right ankle, and it locked up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, and to make matters worse, to add insult to injury, it was the worst timing. I was actually booked to double Halle Berry on X-Men.
Hello,
right?
shit.
On X-Men Days of Future
Damn.
Past. And I was supposed to jump on the plane literally the following week to
Oh
go
my
do
God.
this. Yeah, and the only reason why I took this job was because I was doubling this character for this episode, and my coordinator on X-Men had called my coordinator on this show and had said, we're only gonna allow her to do this because she's been doing it, but she signed her right of first refusal with us. We do own her. Please be careful. We need her, right? And that happened.
Wow.
Right? And so when I landed, I just heard pop, and I felt all that pain rushing through me, and I was in a boot, so they actually couldn't get the boot off because my foot just, so they cut the boot off, and then the swelling just comes right
It's just
out.
insane.
Yeah, and so I had to be carried up because I'm 14 feet down. It was off of a dock, right?
Okay.
So I had to be carried up the ladder back onto the platform that we jumped off of. And my coordinator's carrying me in his arms because I can't put any weight on my foot, and it's just mangled. And I'm like, did they get the shot?
Of course you said that. Of course you said that.
Like,
Of course you said
are you
that.
serious right now? I'm like, did they get the shot?
And-
Because I will do it again if we didn't get the shot.
It's already broken. It's
right?
fine.
He's
Yeah.
holding me. He's like, you're not fucking doing it again.
Yeah,
What?
probably mad at you for no apparent reason.
Seriously,
Yeah, like,
so then the director's just like, he's checking the monitor. He's like, we got the shot. I'm so sorry. Take her to the hospital.
oh my God, we
Yeah.
don't need you,
We
but
don't
I'm
need
sorry.
you,
yeah.
right? Exactly. So they took me to the hospital. I got my x-rays and MRIs, and I got the shittiest news. And I had to give up that job.
And a bunch of others probably.
A bunch of others. I'm currently on permanent disability from that.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I went through 2 years of surgery and rehab. I hit probably my darkest of times in my life. I attempted suicide in
God.
those times. I just felt, again, alone. I didn't have family or support system. Just no one to turn to again. And now the medical community at this point had told me that I was never going to walk again.
Wow.
Yeah, that my career was definitely done.
From athletics all of your life to not being able to walk.
Yeah, and I was in a wheelchair for 6 months. I couldn't put any weight on my foot. And they didn't even know how to fix it. They didn't even know what was wrong with me. So I felt like a medical anomaly. Yes, they could see the torn ligaments in the MRI, but they didn't understand why my joint had locked up. And my talus had compressed into my tibia from that height. And because I was in a heel, I got stuck in a point. So I literally, my foot was stuck in a point for 6 months. They were trying to do manual rehab to try to get it back into dorsiflexion. It was the most painful thing
Manual
I've
rehab
ever.
is not fun.
not fun.
No.
There's no painkillers, nothing. And it's literally them re-tearing ligaments and just re-tearing everything while I'm awake. And I've never experienced such pain in my life.
Yeah, for sure. And pain you can do nothing about.
Nothing about.
Yeah,
I thought I was turning white on the table, like sweating,
Crazy.
and everyone that can't see me, I'm mixed.
She's not light skinned.
I am half black.
She is most definitely not white.
Right? And
Yes.
I was just sweating up a storm, turning white, like going into shock, and it's just awful. And I remember thinking, like, waking up in the mornings crying, like, I have to go through this pain to just try to even get my foot back, and I don't even know if I'm going to get it back.
Right.
But, you know, I fought and fought and fought, and I refused to believe them. Like, I am the creator of my own reality, and up until that point, I have created my reality. And so, and I knew my magic. There was nothing nobody could tell me, like, you're not going to walk again, watch me walk again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right? And so
Yeah.
I used that as motivation and drive to do everything I could in my power to get my foot back. I went through 2 surgeons because the first one, I don't know what her issue was. She hated on me so hard. She didn't fix me. She refused to look at my MRI.
What kind of shit is that? This is a doctor.
Right?
What?
I should totally name her right now, but I
Your
already
call.
gave her a really bad review. I wanted to sue her, but I couldn't because WCB sets everything up in place. You can't sue your employers or your surgeons. So I ended up seeing a second surgeon who, I mean, he did his best that he could. It didn't get fixed. Like, I've lost 50% range of motion, so I don't have
Wow.
functional range anymore.
So this way, like front to back or side to side?
Front to back, so dorsiflexion.
That's the worst.
I know.
Okay.
So I can't track my knee over my toe anymore. So, and I'm still stunting, and I have my career
Knee
back.
over your toe? That's not even that much.
No, I know.
Wow.
Yeah. So now the issue was everything that I do, I'm overcompensating on my left side. And there's a fear of me blowing out the left side, like
course.
entirely from hip to ankle.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Right. So since then, I know my limits now. I play within them. And honestly, it's been a 5-year journey of just adapting and figuring out my new life and figuring out my new body. And
Figure out your new body for sure, because
Yeah.
we have our what our body physically is, and then we have our mental image of
Yeah.
our body, right? And when our body physically shifts, a lot of the time they just don't match up, and that's how a lot of
Exactly.
injury happens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you can, I mean, if you have a right ACL tear, like, you are highly susceptible to blow out that left knee, 100%, right?
Yeah.
And in a joint like an ankle or a knee or a hip, like, those are, I'm not a doctor, but those are your most important joints in terms of, like, mobility. And for
Totally.
a stunt woman, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
I
for
know.
sure.
And I had surgery on my right knee already, and then my right hip is what always pronates and pops out from gymnastics. So this entire right side is done.
Right.
But yeah, it was quite the journey. So 2 years of rehab and surgery, 2 years of fighting, 2 years of them telling me you're not gonna walk again, and I just felt like there's no hope. I remained positive actually for probably the first year and a bit, and then my second surgeon, when I had the surgery in the second year. And that didn't work because at that point I had exhausted all my options. And so
Okay.
I was banking on this final surgery to finally get my foot back. And it was coming up to the 2-year mark at this point. I'd been put on permanent disability. I literally had just fought this battle on my own. I'm on disability trying to survive. And not only am I on disability trying to survive, I actually am also in an abusive relationship at the time.
Same time.
And supporting him on my disability checks. And he's not even trying to help me get through this either.
Yeah.
So again, just contributed to the pain and the hurt and the feeling of being alone. In that moment, I just thought, if I can't be here in this earth plane doing what I love doing, fulfilling my passions, there's no point of being here at all. I don't have anybody. Nobody's even gonna miss me. So who fucking cares? I would rather just start over, end it all and start over. And I literally drank a glass of wine and I took my painkillers and I poured them into my hand and contemplated taking 5 of them. I was drunk too, so it definitely would have done the job. But I didn't want to die. Like, I didn't want to kill myself. I just didn't want to live with that pain anymore. So I literally just collapsed on the floor. I put the pills on the counter, like threw them, collapsed on the floor. I cried, and I just prayed. I prayed to God to just give me the answers to figure out why this is happening. That even if I didn't know now, that one day I would know. But in order to know, I have to keep surviving.
You gotta hold on.
I have to get through this.
So
right?
that was the thought that kept you off the edge.
Yeah, that was the thought. Everything happens for a reason. I've always known that, and I truly believe that. So I just thought, like, God has to have something bigger for me right now, and maybe I'm not meant to be this world-renowned stunt woman. Maybe maybe that's not my actual true calling and path like I thought it was. I genuinely thought that was it. So I had to learn to mourn the life that I thought I had.
It was a rebirth.
Yeah.
100% a rebirth.
And just learn to accept the life I have. And that's what I did.
Even if the life you had was terrible.
Even if it was terrible in the moment. And I wasn't sure of my future, honestly, but I knew that something had to come from this. So I held on to that literally 1 ounce of strength that I had in me. And again, I think that strength comes from the perseverance of surviving being disowned and just surviving my upbringing, my life.
Everything. Yeah.
I have that warrior spirit inside of me, and I drew on that and I used it, and yeah, I survived, and I continued on in rehab and showing up and trying to do everything I could to just get my foot back to where I could, so at least maybe I could walk again, I could run and jump again.
Just booking a gig? Like, what was your goal? What was your one goal? Was it like, let me just take 3 steps, or what was it?
My goal was to get my career back. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
So even when I was in a wheelchair and they were like, you're not even gonna walk, I'm like, I'm walking and I will get my career back. But I'm
gonna double Holly Berry,
I am, This is gonna come full circle, this will. But then again, you have those moments of, no, this is not, because they're telling me this, and I feel alone, and I'm scared, and I don't know what my future is. Anyways, when I decided that I'm not gonna end it all, and that I have to get through this, and that there's something bigger for me, I chose to completely change my mind frame again, and positive affirmations went back on my mirrors, and I would see them every day. The quote from Winston Churchill, if you find yourself in hell, keep going. That's what I wrote on my mirror. And every day I passed that mirror. Every day I saw that quote. And every day I made the choice to keep walking through hell so I could save my life.
Because you can get to the other side.
Yeah. And that's what I did, literally. And January 2015, I learned to run and jump again.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a weird gimp run, but I
So
ran.
off of an unsuccessful surgery, like, how does that happen medically? Do you know what I'm saying?
How does it happen?
Like, you're in a spot where people are like, medically, so biomechanically, you're not going to be able to walk. How does that happen?
Right? Good
Because it doesn't matter
question.
how positive you are, like, if you're physically broken, you know?
Yes. So again, I truly believe we have the power to heal ourselves.
For sure.
And I bought a book. Actually, I didn't buy the book. My kinesiologist had this book lying around in his gym. And I don't remember what the title was, but basically it's about healing yourself through your mind and learning to like transform your cells, like cell level healing, from tapping into your magic and just believing it, right?
Yeah.
And so I picked that book up. I didn't get through the whole thing. I skipped here
Took
and
what you
there.
needed?
Yeah, I took what I needed, and I also just believed in that too. And so like I said, I was putting quotes up everywhere. I was telling myself I'm healed, I'm healthy, I'm whole. I was telling myself I can flip again. I was actually dreaming that I was flipping again. And these dreams kind of were positive for me because I felt like they were signs, like affirmations, like you are going to, this is your future. This is an insight to
your mind is
future.
trying to tell you something.
Right? Yeah. And so I tried to accept whatever was going to happen for me. And I also was trying to accept that it was all different now. Like walking was different. I don't have the same walk anymore. I don't have the same jump. I don't have the same run.
So embracing that and working with that rather than against it.
Yeah. I don't even have the same stand anymore, you know? And so then it was like, all right, let's figure this out. We'll start with the basics. And then maybe over time you can start trying to move on it a little bit more and maybe do a cartwheel or maybe do a back handspring. Right. And so over time I started slowly just testing myself. And it was terrifying because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, if I'm going to snap.
Exactly, right? But at the same time, I felt like I had to test it. I had to prove it to myself, right? And so I was scared, careful, and just balls to the wall gymnast mentality. Let's do this, right? So I remember the first backflip I threw on my ankle, and I had to land on this ankle, and I did a layout, so my hands weren't down, so I'm in the air. So I did a back handspring layout, back handspring, and I remember on the layout, I was like, oh my God, what choice have you made right now? Because you have to come down on this ankle, right? Now, because I did gymnastics at such a high level, thank God, I have insane air awareness, and I just know my body inside and out. And it was easy for me. I was able to overcompensate my landing. So instead of landing how I would usually land, which is a bit forward, I overcompensated and shot backwards, so I could get that range of motion. It doesn't affect my ankle, and it was fine. And then that's just kind of what I started playing with, was learning to tweak my
just
body
like weight
in the air.
distribution and like the positions you're putting yourself in.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sure. Gotcha. And now also, because I've been doing that, now I know what I can take and what I can't take, and what I can do and what I can't do.
You've found your limits, and you've kind of like you've established that boundary now. So when you're doing the stunt work, then can you say no?
Yes, absolutely.
Or not can you say no, do you say no?
Yes, and I did. I had to say no. I was saying no. I recently actually have stopped saying no. So just recently, there was a point when I came back, I was saying no more than I was saying yes. And this was also part of my lesson. And this is a good lesson for every performer out there, how to say no. Because it's something that we don't do.
Ever.
Yeah. And that's how we end up doing things we regret later and making these choices that end up hurting us, right? Instead of listening to what's in your gut and saying no if it doesn't feel good.
That building.
Right, And so I learned that very valuable lesson the hard way. And now I have no problem saying no, and I've actually kind of become an advocate for other people. And they've seen that, like, oh, okay, she's saying no, like, then this doesn't feel good. I have the courage to say no.
That's just a power thing in any situation, right? Like you can use that's a skill. Forget acting, like life, right? Like saying no is hard. Yeah. Super hard.
But that being said, too, my community is so supportive, and I'm so grateful for the film community. Honestly, the stunt world, we're like family. And when a soldier falls, people collect the soldier and like try to help and do what they can, right? So for the most part, even when I was down and out and going through my difficult time, I was getting random calls here and there and being checked up on, and you know, some of them were there through it and trying to just get me to come to set, even though I couldn't do anything. It was like,
be a part of the community and
be a part of it. And we'll even pay you if we can get around your disability, because we had issues with disability with WCB and the union. You can't take jobs, but they were trying still, come in and choreograph this, teach the actor how to do this. We know you can't walk, but just hold pads and stand there,
do something, do anything. We just need you here.
Totally.
Just have your energy in the room.
And a lot of them don't know this, but they also helped save my life. Like they helped me believe, like, okay, I have community.
Purpose.
I have a purpose, and I have somewhat of a support system and people that care and that want to see me get better and succeed. Family. And come back. So that was really special, and that felt really good.
All the stuff you're saying here, it all seems like you always consistently look inwards. Rather than externally, like in your points of, your points of weakness, highest depression, and points where you're literally on the edge of killing yourself and thinking. You're not looking out to society, other people, some religious sense, to anything outside of yourself. You're just digging deep and very, very deep and past the, years of misuse and whatever you want to call that. But still, the ability to dig in deep, most people, I think, would look externally. Why? Do you think it's just your natural reaction?
I think I've built up this sense of resiliency. Again, just from my life growing up and what I've had to endure. So it's just kind of, it's come natural.
The most natural thing to do
almost.
is just to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, like there's a way.
We have to survive.
There's a way. Yeah.
There's a way, and the only way to survive is to figure it out, and you have to figure it out, or like you don't have any other option. You got to look within, right? I feel like that's how we evolve. We have the answers. We have the power. You just have to look within.
It seems like you have a soul that kind of always has your back, and
Yeah.
and you get to a point. Your physical self gets to a point, and then maybe that's a voice in the back of your head, but there's some energy that's pushing you forward a little
It's
bit.
my higher self.
So, what's your religious background then?
I'm very spiritual.
Very spiritual, but are you religious?
No.
See, there's a big difference there.
Huge
Many
difference.
people think that they're the same and walk hand in hand. I'm on the same page as you, but explain that between the difference between religion and spirituality or healing or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think religion is just this preconceived notion that's being handed to you or given to you, or an idea that's being given to you by somebody else. It's like, here's a book, study it. These
Yeah.
are the concepts and the ways. Don't question it. This is it. That's never really resonated with me. I grew up
I
in
can
a
see that.
Christian household. I was an altar girl. I went to private school my whole life. I was
Wow.
force-fed Christianity. I was in church every Sunday, and it never resonated with me since I was a child.
Because you wanted to rebel against it, or because it
Nope.
just didn't make sense?
It just, I don't know how to explain it. It just never resonated with me intuitively. Clearly, my soul, like my higher self, just rejected it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
And I remember being in university and then telling my parents, I'm not a Christian. I denounced my faith.
That was probably strike two.
They
or three,
actually
or one.
accepted it.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Which is so weird. I wasn't expecting it. And my dad said too, he actually understood where I was coming from. I explained it. I said, you force-fed me religion and Christianity my whole life, and I get it. There's morals to it, and it taught me right from
How
wrong.
to be a good person and all that stuff, sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And he was like, you're right. He
Wow.
actually agreed with
Wow.
me. Yeah, we force-fed it to you guys because it teaches you morals, and humans need to know right and wrong. That's it. I was like, okay, so do you even believe it? Like, okay, cool. So then over the course of my life, then as soon as I was disowned, being spiritual, it just came naturally to me. I tapped into my higher self. I tapped into God. I had to find the answers to survive and keep going. And so now spirituality is a huge part of my life. And I feel like spirituality just comes from living your life and figuring it all out, honestly.
Wow. That's a good definition.
I don't know how else to define spirituality. You kind of gain your own wisdom and you gain your own insight through the adversities that you go through and what resonates and what aligns with you.
So was it meditation? Was it?
So honestly, at first I went towards Buddhism, which I know is a religion.
It's the furthest, in my opinion, it's the furthest thing from a religion
Right?
in all of religions.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And so I'm actually covered in Buddhist quotes like all over my body, right?
We'll get there.
Yeah.
For sure. Don't worry. I noticed for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super curious, and
Yeah.
that's in the back of my mind. But let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, so Buddhism and it still to this day really resonates and aligns with me. I think it's a beautiful religion. I'm doing quotation marks.
Yeah. I got you.
It preaches just life, beauty. It preaches what it is, how to be, how to evolve, just everything. And it just aligned with me.
Teaches self.
Self, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it actually teaches self-love too.
100%.
Right? And how to not have attachments to people, and how to stop looking for love outside of yourself and start looking for love within. And I think from there, spirituality kind of just evolved on its own for me. So Buddhism, I mean, you go in my home, I have Buddhas everywhere. I have quotes everywhere.
Yeah.
But I still see that as spiritualism more than a religion too, personally.
I agree with you, but we live in a world where we need 90-degree angles and
Right.
we need classifications, right?
Totally.
I mean, to me, in my personal definition, it's not, because there is no. I mean, sure, there are certain figures and teachings that they look up to and they study, but in no way is it. We're striving to be this, or we need to contribute to this,
Yeah.
or we need to build this. We're not giving money towards a certain person or a certain. There's no institution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a way of being, and again, that reflects to the fundamentals of Buddhism, where it's again everything's internal, and in front, like in Christianity and Judaism, and don't quote me, but everything is, you're looking externally for answers versus you're looking to a person or a text or a group of people to help heal yourself versus, for my personal opinion, in the process of healing, I'm a very inward person as well. Like, let's go in, let's get the dirty stuff, let's go through the shitty things, and then let's come out beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And I think Buddhism, especially, just through your practice of sitting with yourself, like that's one of the first things. I mean, I've read a couple books and I've gone into it a little bit, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in any sense, but it's all, okay, let's sit with yourself and let's start here. This can be a start. And it's not even like the end is somewhere else, because the end is here too.
Exactly.
Right? But just the sense of, let's not start over here.
Yes.
Like, let's start right in your soul.
Yes.
And then learning from that. And to me, that and spirituality is hand in hand.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes,
right?
100. And then I think just from life too, that kind of just evolved and grew on its own. Like now I look at myself, I've been surrounded by crystals probably for the last decade now, but it didn't start like that. And I've come more and more into my witchy ways and like, you know, totally. Yeah. But I found my connection to God, and I know not everybody believes in God, but everything is energy, and
God is in a higher power.
Yeah,
God is in divine energy.
Whatever you want to define God as, higher power, higher self, the universe, creator, whatever. Something outside of yourself, though, a higher energy source, like you said. So for me, God is a higher energy source, creator. And then I also have my higher self too. And then recently, through going through even more adversities, I feel even more connected to my higher self and to God. And I'm going to take it a step further. I now have a very deep connection and relationship to my spirit guides. And I know a lot of people might be like, whoa, you're getting a little woo. But
yeah, for sure.
But that is life, whether you choose to believe it or not. So.
No, sure. I don't mean to. I mean, first off, you're talking from a kid from a super hippie island.
Right.
So don't get defensive in that. Explore that a little bit, because first off, people don't know. And a lot of people that follow you and are just your fans or in your following, I think a lot of people look at you from your athletic standpoint, and athletics and spirituality a lot of the time don't come in and meet in the center the way they maybe should. Yeah. So take a second and explain that, like you said, your spirit guide or your spirit person, your spirit animal. What do you mean by that? What does that mean to someone who is completely ignorant? What does that mean?
Okay, so I guess I'll just explain to you my theory.
Yes, please do.
So I believe that we all have angels with us. We all have guides with us that are helping to assist us in our lives, that are helping to guide us in our lives. At the end of the day, we all have free will, and we all have the choice to do whatever we choose to do. Now, I believe, like I said, our angels and our guides are there to help us and to assist us, especially in times of need. They're always there. It's just a matter of, do you want to connect with them? Do you want to tap in with them? Do you want to call on them? Do you want to ask them for help? Because they're always there to give you help. I use them I talk to my guides daily, honestly, constantly, and that's just a form of prayer.
To give you reassurance, to give you confirmation, to give you...
It's all of it. It depends. Sure. So if I'm going through something and I need answers, I will call on my specific spirit guides and ask them to give me the answers in the form of whatever. So actually, I get answers in the form of animals a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, and lots of synchronicity happens for me. So I see a lot of deers and elephants appear, and usually, like, if I ask for confirmation of something, an elephant will show up, whether it's on my Instagram, whether someone texts me a picture of an elephant, or like, I don't know, it's weird. Yeah, or I just go into the place and there's a picture of an elephant.
The universe brings it to you somehow.
Totally, yeah. Same with deers, that's happening a lot. Moths lately, I don't know.
That's one I have not heard.
Yeah,
okay.
Moths, as of the last 2 weeks, they're just surrounding my life.
As a symbol of...
So I actually looked this up yesterday because another giant moth flew in my house. And like, I've never never had moths fly in.
Sure, okay.
And then now it's like every day, and not just that, it's moths coming to my friends and like them being like, moths in my house. Like, okay, why did you just text me that though? Like, I've never heard about these moth stories before, right? And now it's happening literally every day to someone I know, to me. And then I log onto Instagram, a moth picture in my face. I'm like, what the hell? Like, who sees moths though?
Okay, so please explain.
Yeah.
Like, an elephant to me is like strong, secure, wise, old, all that stuff. A moth is like, shoo.
Right? Yeah. So a moth, this is really...
symbolizes annoyance.
Right? A moth, when it comes to you and a spirit animal, apparently is there to help assist you and guide you into your new transformation. So it's usually when you are tapping into your soul's true purpose and you have to go, you're now transforming into a higher energy, or you need the courage or the strength to tell a story, to call in your true soul's purpose. The moth is there to just help and assist and guide.
That. Interesting.
Which I thought is interesting, because I'm like, that's kind of where I'm going now with my book and the TEDx talk.
I'm with you. I get it. So for those that are listening, Rocky's wearing 2 rings. One is
this is angel aura quartz.
Okay.
And then this is lapis lazuli.
Okay, and then she's also wearing a 3rd necklace,
This is a deer antler, which was naturally detached,
which then turns into.
And this is clear quartz and blue kyanite.
Okay, so
and copper.
So there's a lot there, and people wear certain stones and certain metals for certain reasons. Or is it purely aesthetic? I mean, it looks ball, and I like it for sure, but...
none of my stuff is purely aesthetic, right? Yeah, no. I work with crystals a lot and healing energy, and that's just something that's really close to me now in my life, probably for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's helped me heal, and I wear these stones... to use the energy that they provide. I smudge a lot too, so Palo Santos. I use a lot of sage, sweetgrass, just to clear the energy. But Angel Aura Quartz, I love this stone. It just has such like this beautiful, light, loving feeling to it, right?
Yeah, it's very inviting.
Lapis lazuli, honestly, I wore this today just because I like the ring. That had nothing to do with my healing energy. This I actually just got, my necklace, and I love it. It's like my new little wand, I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it my...
She's a witch.
I am a witch, and I'll admit it. I'm sure the government will come for us soon.
Yeah, I'm going away from this table bit by bit.
They're making all the witch shows now. It's like so funny. The witches are coming, right? Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this I got honestly as, the deer is my spirit animal, and the deer just means a lot to me. Blue kyanite is super healing. It heals your chakras, so it's just aligning and healing the chakras. And then clear quartz is the connection to the spirit realm, the spirit world, and your guides.
See, the quartz is the most common in my mind.
Yeah.
See, that's what you see everywhere, right? It's everywhere. Like my mother is a little bit of a different one as well, but she basically, crazy life, retreated to this very rural island and is very, again, like in touch with herself, very knowledgeable, loves reading, but she has these, again, quartzes everywhere, and she's in love with them, basically, in that it's not like she's staring at them or she's like always like touching them. She's just super aware of them and where they are in the room. Like there's certain symbols, certain materials, certain things that she's very drawn to, whether that be in a person, whether that be in a room, whether that be anywhere. And she will go in a place, even like she'll like a place or not like a place based off of, she'll say that the energy that the earth is giving her basically from that spot.
Absolutely.
So I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Let's break it down further, because you're full. I'm going all in. What is this on your arm?
Oh, look at my tattoos.
Right, and I'm not going to begin to describe, but we're looking at text basically and some symbolism.
Yes.
Okay, so Arabic? No, what is that?
This is Tibetan calligraphy.
Tibetan goes back to the Buddhism. Okay, so
so this is actually a Pani mantra.
You said Tibetan what?
Calligraphy.
Which means?
Well, it's like, our calligraphy it's that style of writing.
Sure.
It's just their style of writing, but in their language.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is a Pani mantra, and this is a protection symbol. So I actually got this during my ankle injury. Yeah, I got this after my surgery. I just thought I need protection now, and if I put this on me and I bless it, this is my reminder to always know that the universe is protecting me. My guides are protecting me.
It's got your back.
Yes,
they're here. Yeah.
Something like this won't happen anymore. Like, I've gone through my shit. Maybe, I don't know. We'll
Hopefully,
see.
yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, life
right?
is crazy, but
totally. On the right arm, same thing. It's Tibetan calligraphy. This one means female warrior. I got this one after I attempted suicide, just to remind myself I'm a warrior. I can power through anything. Then I have the sun and the moon. I'm a moon child. I'm obsessed with the moon.
Okay.
Love the moon and the moon energy, and I pray to the full moon and the new moon. And then I have my Gemini constellation surrounding the moon. The arrow is going through it because my spirit guide is Goddess Diana and Goddess Artemis. They are the hunter of the moon. And they walk around with their bow and arrow and deer. Yeah, weird,
okay.
right? Yeah.
I get it.
And
Lots
I
of
found all this
here.
out after, though. So it was just trippy. And then, yeah, you can see those. And then I have my ribs done, and my ankles are done.
Very cool. Very cool. Since we're so far down this road, and I have some background knowledge on it, even though nobody's going to think that I do. But what's your, rising moon, in what, astrology-wise, or...
I actually don't remember.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
So I'm born in a Virgo, but I have a Taurus rising.
Yeah.
And another moon, but I can't remember off the top of my head, and that defines, or supposedly defines, my characteristics and the way I deal with things. I'm definitely a dick, and that's a Virgo thing. So
That's so funny.
it's Virgos are perfectionists and super disciplined and don't really care about other people, are not super empathetic to other people, but they're very inward thinking and selfish, but at the same time they're very successful, so to speak, right? So it's like gift and a curse. That's not a side of things that you're into at all?
I am, yes. And I actually have my whole natal chart and the whole numerology thing. And there was a lot of stuff in there.
There's crazy shit, yeah.
Right, there's a lot of stuff in there. But I just don't remember what moon I was born into, rising.
No, it's all good. Yeah,
I am a Gemini, though.
There you go. Words.
Right?
No, for sure. Every time, if I'm ever seeing a girl, my mom will call me, and if I tell her that I'm seeing a girl, she'll be like, "What's her birthday?"
I always do that.
And she'll be like, "Okay, hold on." She'll put down the phone.
Right.
She'll put down the phone for 5 fucking minutes. I'm like,
love
"Mom,
your
I have
mom.
shit to do. I can't be on the phone." She also leaves voice messages, which is just she just leaves a 3-minute message.
I need to meet her.
And it's just like, "Hi, it's Mom. It's Thursday at 8:42, and I haven't seen you in a long time, so I just want to say hi." It's just okay, cool. Anyways, text me. I just got to the internet literally 2 years ago.
Aww.
Yeah, I taught her how to use a mouse.
That's so
crazy.
adorable.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I know. Anyways, this is my biological mom. We were separated for a bit, but so she's super into that stuff, crazy. So that's the only reason why I dig deep into that.
Yeah.
But you're not tatted up. You're not one of those people that's super, I want to get a full sleeve.
Hell no, I work in film.
Yeah, fair enough. No.
Everything on me is strategically placed, as you can see.
Yeah.
This is there for a reason, because
So you
when I
can see
turn
it, so it's
down, you
visual.
can't see anything.
Oh.
I literally look in some angles like I have 0 tattoos. I have my ribs done, I have this done, I have my hip done, I have my ankles done, and I can stand in positions, I can do headshots, and you can't even see that I'm tatted.
Crazy.
Yeah, so everything is actually strategically placed on me.
Okay, I was thinking so I went down a totally different route with that. I thought that being, again, if I'm facing you this way, it's a defensive position. This is a caring position.
No, this was just so I can continue working without making makeup artists' lives hell.
Yeah, see, I thought you went the psychologist route.
Nope.
So your psychology really didn't help you at any point.
I was just trying to be nice to other people for other people, right?
I got
Accommodating.
you. I got you.
Yeah.
So you obviously have to stay in amazing shape. What the fuck do you do every day? I get there's some genes there. I get there's some hard work there.
Right.
But what's your routine for the people out there? You know what I mean? What do you do? I heard that you like plain protein smoothies. I heard that shit and I was offended.
Right? You and everybody else.
I heard that. I was like, oh my God, I have to sit down with this person that likes plain protein smoothies.
But that poll, though, more people loved the plain smoothie smoothies.
Because that's your audience, okay?
Oh, no.
That is your audience. That stuff is so gross. You go to a protein shake, you drink it, you leave it there for like a day, even like 4 hours.
That's disgusting.
That's plain protein you're smelling. That's that gains. That's what that is.
I have the blandest taste buds, honestly.
How does that even work?
I know, I don't have a sweet tooth. When it's my birthday, I get fruit platters, not cakes. I still have a cake for other people, but I eat the fruit platter. I know, it's so weird. I'm like the plain Jane with the food.
Okay, spice?
No. I know I'm having a Nigerian dad, but he never made the food spicy. He wussed it down for us. Yeah.
Super whitewash.
Right? I know, totally.
The worst.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
I know.
I hate that shit. No, but seriously, like, are there any like gems that we can pick from you here? Like, how, like, is it?
All right, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, I'll be really honest right now.
Yeah. A&W.
No, so this is a good question because this has been actually up for debate between me and my closest friends, the people that watch me every day.
Sure.
Okay, so when I stopped all sports and I was in university, I kept an 8-pack. I stayed shredded. I was eating junk food. I wasn't working out. I was doing nothing, but I looked like I was still a professional athlete in the gym 8 hours a day. Okay. We just let that go.
Can you feel the resentment? Anyways, yeah, let's keep going, yeah.
At the time, we let that go. We just put it towards, maybe it's genes, your metabolism at the time, and your body's still
You're at a
used
peak,
to...
That makes sense. Yeah, you're still burning fuel at a high rate, yeah.
Right, so I was like, okay, whatever. Then I started boxing, and of course, I get more shredded, but my body changes, so now I have like the diamonds in my shoulders, right? I didn't have those before because I was a gymnast.
You got the feathers, and you can see every muscle strand.
Yeah.
I know.
So
veins on the abs, yeah.
Totally.
Sorry, you're not going to say it, but I know.
Okay, so I get the diamonds in the shoulder, and that's nice. And then...
That's great.
That's great.
Okay, 3% body fat's awesome.
Totally.
2.5 is better.
And during boxing, I was still skinny like I am now, but I had a bit more muscle packed on, obviously, because I'm punching every day, all day.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Totally. After I quit boxing, I kind of stayed there for a while because like I just had that muscle and that's what my body's used to. Then, right, probably a couple years after that, I started getting skinnier. So a couple years after that, I look like how I look now, basically. But I was still training at that point. I was still doing my thing. Like I was still boxing. I was still doing jiu-jitsu when I could and doing Muay Thai and rock climbing and whatever I could do. And then I had my ankle injury. And I was 2 years out.
And you gained tons of weight. You were a slob.
No. So I had so much atrophy in the right leg, obviously. So it was just a bone. It was so
depressing.
Move. Exactly.
You had to sit all day.
No, I was working out at that point. I was in rehab.
In a wheelchair, doing like.
Literally, I was in rehab day 2. I went to physio because I was still trying to keep my job doubling Halle Berry, right?
Are you kidding? You thought you could do that?
Yeah, I thought I could do that for 1 month. Okay.
Wow.
Took me 1 month to officially say no.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
And they were nice. They were actually pushing and kind of allowing it to happen and keeping it a secret. They didn't tell Halle, and she actually ended up getting pregnant, so they ended up cutting her stunts anyways.
Crazy.
So the job didn't end up being that big anyway, so what I did miss, like it was kind of, it coated my wounds a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, it made a little bit better.
Yeah. Silver lining, I get it.
Yeah, but during that time, I was in rehab every day, strength and conditioning, because I was trying to get my foot back, right?
Okay, chill. Dude, strength and conditioning when you have no ankle, that's not the same.
Okay, so when I was wheelchair bound, I was just doing like chin-ups and like anything that I could do.
I'm getting this image of you pulling the wheelchair up with you, like them putting a strap across your thing and be like, yeah, weighted pull-ups, baby. Weighted pull-ups.
You're going to think I'm crazy. The world is going to think I'm crazy. I can't believe I'm admitting to this. The day after my surgery, I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
Chin-ups, I'm doing sit-ups.
What
like,
the fuck?
Yeah, in a cast, like still wounded, like bleeding. Like, what are you doing, you idiot? But honestly, at that point, I was just desperate to just do something, and feel worth something and valuable. So I made stupid choices.
Stupid choices.
Would
like
I
going
do
to the
that
gym?
now? No, I've learned. And so I got big. I got to 140 pounds of muscle, though, not fat.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7", and I walk around. I actually weighed myself the other day. I'm 127, 130 right now. I'm very deceiving with my weight. Nobody believes how much I weigh when they look at me and I step on the scale. They're like, "What?" It's muscle. It's just compact, right? It's dense. Yeah.
I got you.
And I'm just tall. I slim, but the muscle is dense apparently. And I think I have dense bones too.
I think your hair is probably adding a couple
Not
pounds
too.
to that for sure. Yeah, for
Totally.
sure. Got you.
But I gained a lot of weight and muscle, and I was huge, and I was 140, and I was like, damn, I actually didn't like,
massive,
right?
yeah.
I didn't like being that size. I
You
was
must have
like,
been like a bodybuilder at that weight.
no,
holy
I still
shit.
looked normal. That's the thing. It's so weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I just need to show you pictures, but you'll be like, oh yeah, I know you look like the same, just like a little bit more, like, you
crazy.
know.
Yeah.
So I blew up then, and then I got my career back, and I stopped all that strength and conditioning, and I felt like I was too big at that point too. Like, I was actually matching the actresses now, because usually I'm skinnier than everybody.
Right,
I'm
right,
really
right.
slim. So I was matching them better, but I didn't like being at that weight personally. It's not my
Because you
natural.
felt unhealthy, or because it
No, I just didn't
wasn't
like
you?
the look of it. It's like I like being with this. Like,
You like being
I don't know.
you.
Totally.
And your natural self, yeah.
Yeah. But I had to do that to try to get my ankle back. So after that, I stopped lifting, and then I slowly started just like losing a little bit of weight, but not too much. And then I wasn't really working out too much at that point, because like I had got my career back, and I was so over how much rehab I had to do. I actually had an aversion. Yeah, so I was like, that's the point where I stopped being an athlete, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and I announced it to the world, and I told people, because they were like, why aren't you training anymore? Like, you want to come train? Or my friends all the time, like, nope. Yeah, and I went from this hardcore pro athlete training all day, every day
to nothing?
Nothing.
Like, no, like, did you go for runs?
Nope, nothing.
Swimming?
Nope.
Bikes?
Nope. I hated it. I hated working out. I hated it. I had this. Yeah. I had this.
Okay.
I was so burnt out. I put too much energy, I think, into trying to get my ankle back.
How
mentally.
old were you at this point?
At that point, I was 28.
What the fuck? Okay, so you're 33 now. What does 33-year-old you eat? Like, what do you input into your body?
Yeah. Healthy stuff.
Okay, sure. But it's not for weight. It's for mental clarity. It's for performance.
It's to survive.
It's to survive.
So, okay, I'm an ectomorph. I actually don't enjoy eating. I don't like to
small appetite?
eat. I have a small appetite now, and I just don't like food. I feel like an alien. Like,
dude, food. You need food.
I need food to survive, and that's why I eat it strictly because I know I need it to survive.
And you don't have a palate either.
I don't have a palate.
Do you
I don't
like
enjoy
wine?
it.
Nothing?
Do I like wine?
Yes.
No, I don't even drink. I drink to get drunk. Like, and I barely drink.
That's terrible. Come on now.
It tastes gross. Like, I don't know. So I eat like organic food. I'm vegan, but not vegan. I'm O-blood, so I have to eat meat. So I tried to go full vegan.
Right.
Did not work. Like, I literally disappeared and was so like, just
no energy.
Yeah,
for sure.
it wasn't
vegan
working.
for ethical reasons.
Ethical reasons, yes. I love animals and planet and life and like everything, but at the same time, like I unfortunately need to eat the muscle, and so I eat the muscle in an ethical way now.
Yep,
So like
yep.
I buy a cow from a farm and I have him slaughtered. Oh, it's awful, but
Oh
I
my
pray
God,
for
really?
him, and I make sure I tell the farmer too, and he thinks I'm crazy, but whatever, it's all good.
So I know I grew up on a farm. I used to literally kill cows. I understand completely. It's a really weird thing because you like grow with a cow. Oh, this sounds
Totally.
so out of left field, but you grow with a cow for like years, right?
Totally.
Like sometimes, like the way we used to do it was we would get a calfling, we'd raise them, and then we'd breed them essentially. And then as soon as the calves were at a point where they were fine with other parents, we'd kill the parents and we'd eat the parents. And you'd be like, because you'd be like 15 years with like, I had one cow. Man, I'm sounding like a hippie. I had one cow that I just loved. And we called him Elvis, and damn, he tastes good. But he died humanely. I swear to God.
Okay.
And anyway, so I hear what you're saying, and I'm with you on the ethical thing.
Right?
Yeah, but that's tough.
I want a farm. Like, it's my goal to just have land and a farm.
Farms are awesome for sure,
right?
but
But
shit ton of work, but yeah.
Yes, that's the thing. So I need the right man to accompany the farm because
Casting call.
right, casting call, twin flame, come to me now.
Anybody.
Not anybody, twin flame.
Only. Got you.
One
Okay.
person. But yeah, I'm such an empath. I don't think I could kill the animal, and And I always say that, like, so whoever I end up with, if I actually have a farm, we're going to have to sort something out here. Like, I can't attach myself to the animal, or you have to tell me, like, someone adopted him.
Or something like that. Yeah,
right?
No, I get it. It's true.
Totally.
And that's the thing with meat. Like, some meats are just more bioavailable than vegetables, and like all protein isn't created equal, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And like I'm with you. Like, if I could afford organic meat all the time, I definitely would. And like you are what you eat.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like, and sure, on a physical level, you are what you eat, but at the same time, like those factory farmed chickens or cows or whatever, like that shit passes through you and it becomes a part of you.
It's
right?
energy. It's
part of the reason why our society is sick, honestly.
Exactly.
So I mean, but that's a whole different thing. But I mean, in terms of like the bioavailability, there's people like yourself that just cannot survive without meat.
Yeah.
And that's terrible if you're in a situation like that. I know people like that are very athletic as well.
Yeah.
And need that just to maintain their bodies.
Yeah.
To not become in a frail, weakened state. And they're just incredibly torn by it and try to find all these different avenues for getting protein into your body, and they just can't.
So that's my issue. So I struggle. Like, I say that I need to eat meat, but do I eat meat? Right? That's my issue. I have a deep freezer. I have an entire cow in my freezer, and I've had him in there since, God, probably December last year.
You've
and
had
he's
him
freezer
in
packed.
there.
I know.
Your semantics are killing me. I get it.
I'm just like, okay, and then I don't know. And then chicken too, same thing. I go to eat the meat, and then I just think about it, and I'm like, stop thinking about it, and then I'm literally dry heaving, and like I can't eat my meal. And then so now I'm back to my plain protein shake, or like tofu, which is just not good because it's so much soy and tempeh, and
I get you for sure.
So struggling.
How do you supplement that? I don't know. I'm not a
I
physician.
force myself. So this is what I do. This is gonna sound crazy, but sometimes I'll eat the food and I'll go silent. Everyone else is talking, and I'm just in my head trying to get through this meal, telling myself like, you really love this food. You're grateful for the food. You enjoy it. It tastes good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where it came from.
I'm just trying to convince myself.
Oh man, that's such a tough place to be in. But then some people just fucking love meat and they just go at it.
And some people just love food, and I'm so envious of them.
Really? So you want to love that food?
I would love to love food. It looks amazing.
Oh man.
Right?
God, that's like dying a virgin or something. It's just like a whole aspect of life you don't get to enjoy.
For sure.
Brutal. It's always been like that?
Yeah, always. And I've never been able to be full either, which is a good thing. That's a blessing, I think.
Sure.
A lot of people overeat and don't have that shut off switch.
Yeah, that's definitely that's dangerous for sure. Some people like, actually, you know what? I'm surprised you don't like wine, because like wine, like so much of wine is like smelling the wine. Like you have way more taste buds in your nose than you do in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's like thousands compared to a couple. And so I'm surprised you're not into that. Like,
I ruined my wine. You're going to be like, oh no, you did not just tell me that. So I put like ice cubes and soda water. And I make spritz. Joss is banging his head on the mic right now.
I know you guys can hear that shit. Oh my God. My 90-year-old grandmother puts fucking 2 ice cubes in her Chardonnay wine, which is dry as hell.
I know.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And it's the only way I like it. It's like a spritzer, and now we're talking. Now I can drink it. Now Rocky's gonna have a good night.
Okay, yeah. Moving on. That's insane. That's so gross. Oh,
it's so good. Actually, it's refreshing.
No judgment. I get it. I totally get it. So at 33, what makes you want to keep throwing your body around like that? Like whether it's athletically or professionally for stunts, what makes you want to keep doing that?
I love what I do. I feel so blessed to be able to embark on my passions.
But dude, go jump around in the park.
But it's not the same though. I've spent my whole life working my ass off. And I found an industry and a career that I can use everything that I have done. I can use my gymnastics, I can use my boxing, and I can use my crazy upbringing too, and all of these characters and roles. And it just fits and it feels good.
Are you ever gonna go more towards like full-time acting?
So after I got my injury, that was the goal. I actually booked Wayward Pines. I booked the role of Margaret, and I did the entire season.
TV show?
TV show, yeah.
Okay,
and then I kind of just fell back into stunts again. I went back and did X-Men.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. That's just what happened. It was my goal to just be like, this happened because I'm going to act. And I thought that's what was it.
Right.
But that wasn't it.
You try to shift yourself into a different purpose and all that. But like, what's the prime for a stunt woman?
What's the prime?
Like, what's the...
you can... That depends. It depends on your background, how much mileage you put in, and what your skills and abilities are. So drivers, they can go forever because you're just driving, right? And if you're smart, you'll learn to drive because...
And not crash and kill yourself. Yeah, makes sense for sure. But you're not that. You're jumping off of buildings, you're doing backflips, you're doing crazy skating shit. Like, you're doing stuff people don't want to do.
With half a foot. 1.5
With literally half a foot in stilettos. So, like... What makes you keep wanting to do that at 33 years old? Not to make that sound old, but like I'm just saying, there's a point where you're like, maybe I shouldn't put my body at risk all the time.
Yeah, and yes, absolutely. And I learned that after my ankle injury.
Yeah, no shit. I hope you learned that over
totally, which is
injury.
why I opened up the gym, and so I have a backup, which is why I'm starting to speak and write, and I want to just start motivational talking, and so I'm just creating more backups for myself, right? I understand that there's a shelf life in this industry, and so I'm gonna go as long as I can go, but also I know that I've got lots of things to fall back on. So
you have lots of passions on the side and things that you can pursue.
Yeah. And I thought I would want to be a stunt coordinator. I went down that route, but I actually discovered that that's not what I want to do. No. So I really enjoy performing, and I think I'll stay in film as a performer as long as I can. And,
Gotcha.
And then carry on.
How much do you love the entrepreneurial side of owning a gym? Now that past chapter's gone and you're kind of in a new light.
Yeah, it's
I'm kind of putting words in your mouth there, but yeah.
The gym for me has been an interesting journey. I'm not gonna lie.
So for those that don't know, Rocky runs TriStar, co-owns TriStar Vancouver with
Kijan Johnson,
who is a UFC fighter, just recently fought in Calgary UFC 227, I think. And is fighting again coming up in September
16th.
I want to say like 3 weeks from now or something like that. Yeah, so very soon. So two high caliber athletes owning a gym together. Clearly have an awesome relationship, brought you into the sport to start with. You're not professionally boxing anymore at all.
No, I retired when I went into stunts.
Makes sense for sure. How is that the entrepreneurial side of actually owning and running a business? Because that's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a lot to take on.
Shit.
Yeah, because I've had to deal with my full-time film career and then also deal with owning the gym and the managerial side of the gym too. I have the business brain, so all of that setting up was me by myself. Love Kijan. He's an amazing coach.
Right.
And that's his job is to coach, right?
But not the business mind.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
sure.
we all find what we're good at and then you go do that.
Yeah.
So it was challenging. I honestly, looking back, I don't even know how I did it because I was full-time on a show.
How long have you been operating that now?
It's been 2 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, right? 2016, yeah. So,
okay, sure.
Yeah, we're 2018 now, 2 years.
So TriStar is originally out of Montreal. And so for those that don't know, that's George St. Pierre's gym with Faraz Zahabi.
Yeah.
Hey, Joss, way to remember something. I'm a basketball guy, not an MMA guy. Although I want to know shit like a ton about it, but I hate pretending like I know. So TriStar started up out of Montreal. Now there's a bunch of TriStars. There's a couple TriStars.
There's some TriStars in different locations. So Faraz basically just allowed his students to kind of branch out wherever they live and open the franchise and just do their thing.
And take the name with them a little bit.
Take the name out there and get it more known all around the world. I mean, it's already really well known.
You're one of the best, if not the greatest of all time.
Basically give people an opportunity to train at an amazing facility in different locations. And
Faraz is incredibly dynamic. Like he's a philosophy major. Right? Okay,
he's super smart.
And so he's not just a trainer, not just a business owner, not just a philosopher. He's all these things in many different ways. Does TriStar reflect that? Are you very focused and specialized on what you teach within those walls?
Yeah, Kijan has a very structured program going on there, and it's an amazing program. It's a program designed to start you from the beginning and take you to a pro level champion all the way to the top. Got you.
but that must incorporate a lot of different things. You're attacking a pupil from many different angles. No?
Oh yeah.
So that's how you have to become a jack of all trades. Do you have many coaches, or like how does that work? How many kids do you take on? Like,
so I mean, we can take on as many that want to come,
sure.
but Kijan is the head coach of the gym,
Yeah.
so he runs everything. He runs the programs and he structures everything. But now we also have the fight team coaching. So we have some of the fighters who won world championships who have now turned pro.
Wow.
And we have Jamie Siraj also coaching, who is a professional fighter. He's probably going to be signed to UFC pretty soon here.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so we just have the fight team also coaching, who are also super knowledgeable. And that helps Kijan as well, because he's still an active fighter in the UFC.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you can kind of push that to the side a little bit.
So he has to go for his training camp sometimes. So when he's gone in Montreal doing his training camps, then the team steps up and takes over his classes that he was teaching. And
Gotcha.
yeah, it's really good. They're
That's
amazing.
awesome. No, that's awesome for sure. So if there's any young female fighters coming up, can they get to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's some girls in the gym. I'm not personally coaching anybody right now. I just don't have the time. I was coaching boxing. I was coaching the boxing program, but I stepped away from that probably the beginning of last year. I got
Time
too busy
reasons?
with film, and it wasn't really fair for me to show up and then not be there, and show up and not be there. And people wanted to, like, when people want to learn from you, they want to learn from you. So if you're not there, it's like, well, it's not really fair.
No, it makes total sense. You have to commit 100%. Is that like a passion you really want to pursue as you maybe as your stunt career goes down a little bit?
Yeah, I think maybe as other careers start slowing down, I might show up back in the gym more. I might start teaching more. I know they were discussing me teaching a gymnastics and flexibility course and adding that in there. But again, it's just time. Like, I wanted to do that this month, but then I got a call to go to X-Men and do all this and that. So it's just time.
So at some point you might have to make the call where you're like, okay, I need to be in a position where I can't be called and be on set in 36 hours. Or is that just forever the life you're going to want to live?
Yeah, I'll always choose film over
it was
gym.
absolutely yes, for sure. Of course. Dumb question. Let's go here.
Right? Yeah. No, film is my passion. I love it. And not only is it my passion, I'm blessed that it pays extremely well.
That's nice too.
Right?
That's nice too.
Yeah, and so that is just a beautiful blessing, and it's a beautiful bonus. And so that allows me to keep the gym. That allows me to fund the gym, right? That's where the money for the gym came from, was my film career. So it's like, as long as I'm in film, I just feel like that's my security and my safety net, and I can continue having all these other things on the side. And then when all those things are set up properly and done and they're running themselves, then it's like whatever about film.
It's no problem,
Yeah, but I'll still take it because I love it. I'll do that stuff for free. It's my passion.
Well, keep that to yourself, for sure. She has her prices going up.
Indies.
Absolutely. Her price is going up as we speak. That's hilarious. I mean, in all this, what do you think would be, anyway, 2, 3, 4 really solid philosophies or ideologies or things that you can stand on, for someone that might be going through a similar situation that you were in when you broke your leg, or someone that might be changing career paths, or someone who might be in a fourth year university setting where they're like, fuck yeah, like I'm gonna go be a third grade teacher, but like I actually want to start a cafe, or what are 3, 4 things that you really solidly live by that you've accumulated over your time on this earth? Could you pinpoint it to something like that?
Yeah, the quote, I think Buddha quoted this, what you think you become.
What you think you become.
Yeah,
okay.
What you think you become. That really resonated me when I first started my stunt and acting career, and I was disowned by my parents, my family. Your mind is everything, literally, what you think you become. So you can't have a negative mindset. That really taught me to just switch my mind and my perception and start thinking more positively so that I could call in everything that I wanted. I still use that quote to this day. I actually had it attached to my email for like years and years and years. Yeah. No, it was Bruce Lee, not Buddha. I remember.
Slightly different.
I don't remember.
The concept still stands. The concept still stands for sure.
No, Bruce Lee was it's not the destination, it's the journey. something like that. I also had that attached to my email, but that resonated, but
Not as much.
not as much. Yeah. The quote from Winston Churchill, still to this day, when you find yourself in hell, keep going.
Yeah.
Yes, keep going, because you will eventually get out of hell, but the
Yeah.
only way to get out is to keep going.
Yeah. That's crazy, because for me personally, I get to a point with that, because I am exactly the same in that. Like, if I feel pain or discomfort or fear, especially, I'm like, yes. Like, if there's something that fear is attached to, like, let's go 100%. Like, I'm going skydiving with a buddy, and I'm so fucking afraid of heights, and but I'm just like naturally attracted to it, because I'm like, that's how we get better, right? So that could be good in the sense of you find pain, or maybe not you find pain, but you experience pain, and like, okay, let's stay in this place that's painful, because I'm going to get better from it, which is great. But then sometimes that can attract you to negative things, so to speak. Like, that can be counteractive. Everything has a reversal, right?
Yeah.
How do you find yourself in places? Do you ever find yourself in places where you're like, okay, you're someone that likes challenges. So I see a challenge. Now, do I want to go towards that challenge and attack that challenge, or is maybe that challenge actually bad for me?
No,
do you know what I mean?
I like to look a challenge in the eye and give it a wink.
Of course you do.
Right? Bring it on.
No challenge is ever in the wrong.
No.
I get it.
Because challenges usually teach you so much, right? Usually our biggest lessons come from our greatest challenges. That's what I found in my life. So challenges, again, I think they're just there to help you evolve and to grow into the best version of yourself, if you choose to use the challenge as that, right? It's all about being the victim or victor of your life.
I think a lot of it comes with perspective as well. Like, for instance, we've talked about time on this podcast. Like, I look at time as a challenge, so to speak. Like, we're very limited. It's our most scarce resource. And so the challenge I see there is like, how can I create the person that I want to be out of this time? Like, time is my only resource. It's the only thing I have to work with. So how do I manifest something out of that? And that's a challenge, but then that also, me going down that path towards that challenge and try to like manifest something out of that resource, that also that turns me into a place of like shutting everybody out, right? Because you're super focused, and maybe attracting people that you shouldn't attract because you're so focused on this challenge, right? There's lots of people in my life that I have great relationships with, but it's solely business. And I'm literally hurting a relationship, because a professional relationship, but something that could be deeper, but I don't want to go there because that takes time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So challenges can be reversed at that same time. And that's scary, because our entire lives, we're just taught attack it. And it's usually always worked out for us, but I think there's byproducts of everything. Like you said with your father, as much as that was a terrible experience and something no one should ever have to go through in their entire life, that's made you who you are, and you have incredible discipline, incredible work ethic, commitment because of those things. You take those 3 things away, you're not the person, that you are today.
Yeah.
You're not sitting across this table from us, and we're not super interested in you because you don't have those fundamental things, right? And that's, as much as you say, like, you are who you think you are and what you think you become, there's also those external factors that pop in here too. But you said, the quote exactly was, the Buddha was, you think.
Yeah, the mind is everything.
The mind is everything.
What you think you become.
What you think you become. And then Winston Churchill, if you find yourself in hell, you keep going. Is there anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, to that quote?
No.
Oh, another quote.
Or something, another philosophy you'd add to it.
There will come a point in your life where you realize no one is coming to save you, and you have to save yourself. So be your own superhero. Yeah. And
it makes sense, because you are a superwoman.
Right? Oh, thank you.
That's amazing. Well, we've taken up so much of your time, and I really appreciate you coming out. It's been my pleasure. 2+ hours for sure. And keep being that superwoman. And we'll do our best to try to spread your message and infuse ours into it as well. And just, again, spread that positivity and resilience over everything. So hopefully you guys can get something from that and take something from that. And thank you. And make sure to go out and see Rocky at her TEDx, which is November
17th at the Glen Pine Pavilion
out in Coquitlam. Got you.
Tickets are on sale.
Can they get them through you?
No, you can get them from the website.
Sure.
Just Google TEDx Lafarge Lake. They're also on Instagram at TEDx Lafarge Lake. All the details are there.
And your book is coming out.
Book is coming out hopefully before Christmas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so no release date, yes?
No release date yet, no.
Okay, awesome. And then we can also just get you in theaters, right?
Yes, you can.
And for those young female boxers or female athletes or female MMA artists or anyone that wants to get out, please go see this woman. If you're on the edge of like, do I want to get into a sport? Do I want to find something? Do I want to attach myself to something? Yes, go. Find that mentor, right? Like you've had so many mentors in your life, and I'm sure that you're very willing and eager to help other young, strong women come up. So
always.
We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Till next time.